to this episode of Midnight Ranting. Evolution on Trial.
Amy Newman victory celebration. Amy Newman
Woo!
back out on the debate sphere. Does it feel good? On
It
modern day
does
debate?
feel good to be back out there in the debatosphere, to be having fun, and I would like to do more. I think it was a
Some people were
very
commenting. I saw a couple comments like, "Wait a minute, isn't Amy a moderator?" Like, well, yeah, she is a moderator sometimes, but she's also a debater.
some would even say a master. Anyway, I almost jumped into moderator mode like one or two times just because I have to do shout out to, I feel like, follow, and subscribe. Like I said,
You're
I
still a
say
part of
it
the channel.
in I'm still part of the MDD community. And, but it was lovely to be in the debate arena. Like I said, it was a very cordial debate. And so, I feel like everyone was trying very to be nice to each other, which is good. Sometimes you don't always want a bloodbath. However, like I was telling James, thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you so much, everybody out
She did
there.
very well tonight. Yeah, she did very good.
I just wanted to be an anchor because I knew all three of them coming into this. I had just been learning about the doctor, but once I did, I went out there and I looked him up and what his beliefs were. And Jen is very friendly and familiar on this channel. And Sal, I have had a few debates back and forth with him now. And so I don't have bad blood or animosity towards them. And yet I just wanted to be a pillar that evolution
A
is
voice of reason, of sanity in what was otherwise a conversation lacking sanity at certain points.
well,
That's not to be offensive, but they did kind of get out there on some very
because I knew
interesting topics.
after doing a little bit of research that he was going to agree. I did see the debate with him and Jen in which they ended up agreeing most of the time. And so I knew that was going to probably happen again. And so, like I said, it was really just to talk about how it's the answer to the diversity of life, to take pot shots, I guess, at genetic entropy. There was a lot. I probably could have also went through more. I didn't take pot shots at Jen's model with consciousness having to deal with genes. I still that and she wonders how matter gets changed by using genes and all sorts of trying to think.
I mean,
what else?
like most of what she says, it's not really germane to the. It's like ancillary things that don't really touch to the core of evolution by natural selection, biodiversity. Um, it's more philosophical, metaphysical, you could say.
Yes, it is. And Jen's harder to pin down than I would say maybe a Christian. I did think that one question was funny because I think maybe it should have been forced out. It was like taking a pot shot at Christianity, but then they name checked Jen when it should have been for, I guess, either of the other two Christians, because and now the naming was very specific in that it was supposed to be evolution on trial because it was not supposed to be be on trial.
Well,
Now
they never
I
take anything
had
for
to
burden, you know
uh,
that.
indeed. And because now I know Jen tries to put forward her own thing, but generally speaking, the creationist movement, especially the young Earth creationist movement, does not put forth their own model for the diversification of life. It is just we don't like evolution. And I know that Sal has a much more eloquent way of saying that. However, a lot of it, the vast majority of it, if we just put genocide, the skepticism comes from a young Earth based, either Christian, Muslim, and sometimes Jewish community. Those are the people that are trying to push it
Yeah.
to the schools. And so I was also just hoping to um, give an olive branch because I knew I was going in with three theists. That if I made this a completely just an anti-religious thing, I couldn't do my normal shtick. Of course, if you're a fan of the channel, or you'll know James and myself kind of have one tool in our toolbox of why we think that there are still some major problems in society. Not all. We can't
But
oversimplify, but a big one.
uh, uh, the root of a lot of the nonsense in
Lot
society. But I have to say, I agree
is religion.
with Zach. The way he was making it sound like basically like evolution. It's like being completely reshuffled, and there's all these new things that they're discovering. Well, I mean, they are adding new things to the theory. Although he did kind of concede, like, yeah, we're not like overturning the past. We're just kind of expanding it. We're adding to it, which I mean is fine. But he did kind of characterize it as if maybe there was justification for some of the skepticism of evolution in the past, but oh, we've made these other discoveries, and we're filling the holes in. But I mean, uh, I don't know. What do you think?
I think that it only comes in two boxes. That we have what they try to call themselves skeptics because that is the intelligent way. We view ourselves as skeptics, but I view it not really a skeptic if you're denying the mainstream scientific view, and they're religious. And so it's the either of those two buckets. I think that for as smart of a guy as Sal is, for as highly credentialed as a guy that Sal is that the guiding light is going to be his religious views and his philosophy, and that as a fundamental. He even said in the debate that he bases it on the genealogy of people being added up. And so if you're going to take Bishop Usher and others instead of the scientific view, at the pinnacle of it, because he'll say that he is doing science, but you know you're putting the cart before the horse. You should be going where the evidence
And well,
the evidence
I mean,
leads, not having an opinion then trying to find evidence.
so like you said, he's a smart guy. He has degrees. He's well educated, and I mean, I remember asking him like, so him taking a scientific approach to the theory of evolution, and asking him like, okay, so the vast majority of his peers who have similar degrees, similar backgrounds, similar education, they don't see these things that he finds problematic with evolution as being very problematic. Like they're not any type of issue that would cause the theory to be in question. It's there's open questions certainly, but nothing that is going to completely overturn and say, oh no, it's not evolution, it's creation. That is not within the realm of possibility.
And that's why I use germs, because it could be actually tomorrow we learn evolution isn't true. We could they could find Aaron's phylogeny
Protein.
challenge. It
I have to
could
say,
be
he is so
somewhere.
triggered by Aaron Ra. How many times did someone
I
mention
don't know
Aaron
why.
Ra?
I
Over
don't.
and over again. The Aaron Ra lives rent free in these guys' heads, and I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
Kent is too. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah.
Art's such a nice guy. He seems just so chill. And every time I see him with a snick, I just can't help but smile. But apparently, very triggered by it.
He doesn't deal well with bullshit artists, but anyway.
But yeah, genetic entropy is nonsense. But
I would like
you
to see
know,
Dr. Sai push back a little bit more on that because that's kind of more his wheelhouse, this genetic entropy nonsense.
well, and my goal, one of my goals, just to just put my cards out there, is that I knew in that him being kind of a theistic evolutionist that I was trying to promote, you know, him taking not a harder stance, but many of his videos when I looked him up were about why abiogenesis hasn't been solved yet.
Well,
And so
because Sal kept,
in this
no, continue.
debate, it really was because that is what he was saying. He was always saying evolution is true, but abiogenesis we don't understand. Now, in these debates, he's had to kind of isolate that. He it's not about abiogenesis, and he said that, and I agreed. It is about evolution. We are talking about when life already is here. What is the mechanism by which new species form? That is evolution.
Oh, it's not a God poofing them out of nothing. No, that we have no model for that. We have no evidence for that. We have no foundation for that. No, not even a basis for it. The only thing we have is an old book said it. That's it. That's it. You would never get the idea that some immaterial deity poofed animals out of nothing. You would have to read it in an old book. Now, evolution, it might not be intuitive, and that's probably why it took humanity so long to realize it, to
Though it
realize
is
what's
for
going on.
me, I will say,
Well,
and I know,
because we
and I
understand
know,
the story, but
and I get that yes, I may just be in an entitled or whatever, just up snot saying it, but I don't know. It makes kind of sense that simpler things would eventually become more complex. I actually feel like you have to work against the grain to think that it was a person who made everything, and then for a lot of time there was nothing, and then eventually something again, a lot of something. I don't know. But yes, we'll do the quick shout outs. I forgot
I
to,
mean,
and then we'll get everybody on.
we have this recorded in the fossil record. I mean, and their attempts at the floods, those are some of the most ridiculous ad hoc explanations. Like, oh well, the flood sorted okay, so the flood sorted these animals out the way that evolution would have done it. Huh. Very nice of God to have his flood that he used to kill billions of animals and people sort all these things to make it look like they evolved.
I also don't understand when they make fun of they're like, oh, and then there was a short amount of time for all these things to happen, and I'm like, yeah, you guys believe it's 6 days. Like, didn't bring up the Cambrian explosion, but the Cambrian explosion, which they often bring up, it was a short amount of times,
yeah,
several million years, which is in geological terms is small. But then, I mean, that would mean that 6 days is thus laughable. I just whatever.
Well, as opposed to how long did it take for multicellularity to evolve? That took a long time to evolve.
2 billion years. About
Yeah.
half the time we've been here, the single cellular life was just chilling, being fine.
So for lots of new species to pop out in a 10, 20 million year time period, that is a lot faster than it was before. But it's still not within any type of time scale that evolution would be troubled by.
No. And okay, I'm just
Shout
going
out,
to give two shout out. Well, first of all, if you have like, followed, subscribed, if you've hit that bell icon, because that's how you actually get true reminders. Because if you subscribe, YouTube's like, okay, but do you really watch this? We'll show you content, but it'll just fade into the background. But if you hit that bell icon,
and the like, that means it'll go to your homepage, which it'll suggest it for you.
That's right, baby. We will be suggested into your eyeballs, but also it means we get to say hi to you. What is up, everyone? I see Shane Billowitz and I see Sinister Porpoise. Sinister was asking great questions in the debate.
He certainly was.
Purple rhymes with orange, and Dr. Dino, and Native Atheist, and Tom Tom, and Zach, and Stephanie. What is up, Stephanie? And Yahooligan. And we will be sending the link in. I'll do my quick God equals square root of -1. Jeff, if I missed your name, then keep on saying hi. We'll say hi. But we also have multiple ways you can support the channel. We have super chats, and we'll interact with them because you guys send us love, and we'll send that love back. Someone just said something very nice during the debate. And so I'm sending them, I guess, double love even in the after show. But we also have channel membership. That's right, with our evolving badge system. And every once in a while, that becomes relevant because, James, it evolves. And so if our badges evolve, then that means evolution has to be true, right?
But I mean, the thing with that, Amy, is that it doesn't. It's not a gradual change. It goes from like a beaker to a computer, or there's no intermediate steps.
I know, and we'll never find intermediate steps.
We never have. Well, and if we did, that would just create two new gaps, because you okay, well, what's this new gap? What's this other intermediate?
Very specifically, if you look close enough, it's a thigh gap. I just have to point that out. Scientifically speaking, I think.
Ultimated when we need them. But I mean, and
ultimated. I want rebel. I want rebel. I want a shirt off, a steak on.
Cooking a nice medium rare steak in a skillet. Yes. But and that's how dishonest it is. Sometimes they're like, oh, well, even if you had a transitional fossil, then you would have to have two new transitional fossils. I mean, they don't want us to show them anything. Yeah, transitional.
Yes. We have millions of fossils. We have millions of fossils. And I don't understand how, when we can utilize artificial selection, when we can utilize evolution, like we make corn. Corn did not used to look like it. The way, the gorgeous husk that we have now, that is not, it was a much drier, less appetizing, it was edible, but we have made that banana, lots of other foods.
So you took a plant, edible. You made it a plant. That's your example of evolution.
Yes.
You started with a plant, you had a plant,
and see,
there you go.
I never went into that, but that's another thing, because they never brought, that's a Kent Hovinism. But yes, because that is what evolution dictates. Any steak cooked more than medium is a waste. Let me tell you, Native, I'm just glad that I fulfill that specification. When I was being raised, my mother, every steak has to be well done, because there was a hint of a germ that may kill me. Yes, but I'm now medium. I now do a good medium steak.
Fortunately,
Rachel,
my dad got me on the medium rare steaks, but my mom.
You and Rachel would get along fine.
I still remember being like 5 years old, and my dad, he went to the grocery store, and he bought, this is back in the 80s, so he bought like $140.
That was 20 years ago, right? Wait.
Yeah, basically, 30 some, almost 40 years ago, but like $140 worth. So that's like $200 steaks for the family. And then my grandfather, he burnt them all. My dad was so mad.
Like what? There's
Done steaks. You
there's
get
no
a nice
pink left.
piece
It's
of meat
perfect.
and you cook it like a pot roast.
Ah, ladies and gentlemen, there's a joke somewhere, but you always want a little pink.
Exactly, Shane. Plants are still plants.
Plants are still plants.
Yeah,
Yes.
plant. I made it a plant.
That's the question I always want to ask creationists is when are we going to stop being a mammal? And are we mammals? Because what does that even mean? If we're not apes, if we're not these different species, just every animal is its own thing. But why would we be anything shared similarly with a squirrel? Why would we have anything in common if you don't believe in evolution? It's a completely separate bucket.
Obviously, God just made these. He just decided to make, like, okay, I'm going to make humans, and then, I'll kind of make these things. I'll call them apes that are not quite like humans, but they'll have the same basic body. They'll be a little hairier, a little more muscular, and I'll make these other type of mammals, and I'll do it so it looks like they were all related, but they're not. And they don't understand that, Kent. He'll say, oh, well, that way we can all eat each other. You see, we all have to be made out of the same stuff. Otherwise, no, God can do it. God could have done it any way he wanted. God could have made it so that each animal was distinctly not related to any other animal, and we could still eat each other. Don't get me started.
No, that's okay. We are ranting. We are, in fact, midnight ranting. We can not only evolve with our evolving badge system. You can hit that join button right there. But we have a Patreon. That's right. You can join us. What's that?
Amy always points out, Dr. Dinos, they deny that we're primates, and me and Amy always point out like that they don't mind being mammals. Like, that's okay. We're a mammal. Exactly. That's fine. But you go down the tree. We're animals. We're not animals. You go down. No. They're okay with mammals, and I don't know why that
exactly. I don't know why that very specific one, because technically speaking, from their model, a squirrel and a lizard should be as equally apart from us than anything else, right? And so there's nothing closer. From an evolutionary perspective, it makes sense. We see characteristics. We know that mammals have hair. We know that mammals have breast milk. We know that mammals are warm-blooded.
This is a family dream.
Right. But I mean, if you don't agree in evolution, then those distinctions mean nothing, and it's a mystery why we even share these things in common.
Are you related to my toenail fungus?
Yes, I know, and they always say those things as in like you're supposed to be
related to toenail fungus. What's this other guy? He's related to a strawberry. This other guy, he's related to a turtle.
That's the other thing. They hold up in the equivalent of the flower's sexual organ, and they go, "You think we're related to this? Well, geez, Ken, not when you hold her like that, but yeah." Oh my goodness. But the crazy thing about a platypus is that it can make its own custard. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Midnight Ranting on evolution.
Whale penis? Okay.
What's up, Doorknob Head? What's up, Pedro? What's up, Nathiest? Oso, everybody. Gizmo is saying hi, the true sponsor, the real star of the show. Where are the transitional fossils? Everywhere. And all fossils are transitional. We are a transitional species because there's one day, if we live long enough, the human species may again, Maybe we'll go out into different. You'll have humans on the Mars and humans on Earth, but we'd still always be apes, and we'll still
And we could
always be.
speciate, and we might not be infertile eventually.
But we would also be everything
Yeah.
that we were before. We would still be apes. We would still
Mammals,
be mammals. We would still be multicellular. We would still be made of cells in general.
Eukaryotes. Yeah.
Exactly. Eukaryotes was another thing that I've seen Sal bring up in other debates. Like, you can't explain that, but you can't explain that. It's mitochondria. Like, I
Even
call
he
it the
pointed
mito.
out how that happened. The mitochondria was a separate organism that got assumed into the cell. Dr. Side mentioned that.
Yeah. And Ben asks, what is the purpose for engaging in these debates? Fun. Well, two different things. So
Basically.
I think James and I will admittedly, and it's probably, we'll agree with both of these things I'm about to give. Number one, we enjoy it. There's no doubt about it. We are in the debate community. You know, if you're not in the, if you just are just into the subjects, you may just be into the subjects and not into debating yourself. But a part of the skeptic and ranting community, we can't help ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. We
Intellectual challenge. It's a
Yes.
mental workout.
However, I think the most important thing is that we are skeptics, and that because of that skepticism, I think that led to both James and I becoming atheists. It became apparent that there are people out there that are organized and working. To use that word, they have an agenda, and that agenda is to actively either push science out of the classroom or push religion into the classroom. And so the
science
vanguard.
Out first, then what do you replace it with? Well,
James, we got a book. Do we got a book?
Oh, yeah, you can teach them about the animals, but you can't tell them where they came from. You come to Sunday school. We'll tell you about all that.
Let me tell you.
We'll cover that on Sunday school.
And so, yeah, we are the skeptic and ranting community. We are the alternative to fundamentalist religion. And if you even want to take a step further, the water is fine. Leaving religion
I'm not James
altogether.
From MDD. No.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I always joke there's many James in my life, sending love to the fantastic James.
I do not have a Subway tattoo on my back. I do not get free Subway.
That is true, James W. Or not James of MDD. If you guys didn't know this, and I love saying this as often as possible, there was a competition Subway was running. They offered multiple different size tattoos, and the larger the tattoo, the more amount of money they guaranteed you that they would pay for your sandwiches. And of course, the top ticket was a foot-by-foot tattoo of Subway logo, and it guarantees you what they called was either sandwiches for life or sandwiches for a year, whatever. It was the equivalent of
$50,000 gift card.
$50,000, yes, $50,000 worth of Subway sandwiches. So he has a card that he basically goes into now, that he just, whenever he wants a sandwich, whoop whoop, and he gets it.
They put a barcode on his back, and they had to scan that, so he had to.
That would be amazing. I could not make it up if I tried, because life is stranger than fiction. However, in James' defense, that's a pretty good deal. So I'm only slightly teasing him because I'm not. I don't know. I'm not sure I wouldn't
He's a cool
pass
dude.
that up. I do like Subway.
It's all right.
James is like, it's all right. Listen,
I tell you, I used to love it when I was a kid. I don't know if it's just because I was a kid and I didn't know any better, or if it really used to be a lot better. I don't know.
see, I used to get a much more plain sandwich when I was little. I would just get turkey and mustard on bread. Now I get my abomination of a sandwich because I get no vegetables, but I get a Subway club, which is I get ham, turkey, and roast beef. I oftentimes then add in bacon, sometimes pepperoni. I put Parmesan
Sometimes double
cheese.
bacon.
Oh my goodness! If I could, the money though they charge you, but I would. And you put in just some spices, and I just cruise right by the vegetables, and I look at the lady and I go, "Yeah, I'm trying to see how unhealthy I can as possible in a single sandwich."
Oh.
And I say, "Just take that oil and just spray it on there."
Do you remember the Saturday Night Live spoof, the Bears, like the guys who eat the wings and talk about Chicago Bears? They're like the
now
Bears,
I want wings.
the Bears. They did a spoof of that, and they brought out like the burger, and it had like a carrot on there. Like what is that? You trying to kill us? We're on a keto diet. Get that carrot off of here. That would be Amy.
That is my life.
No
I'm
veggies.
trying to eat more salads.
No
I'm trying to
veggies.
eat, but it's hard. Oh, meatballer. Somebody, you hooligans saying. I'm telling you. Now look, it's expensive. I used to have a bit on fucking a $10. It annoys me that they're $10 now or more. That's what kills me on the inside now. Because the $5 footlong, that was the golden age of sandwiches. But now,
They're all like training us. Like Wendy's has this. What is it? The Baconator with a pretzel bun. It's like $13 combo. I don't think they're trying to sell Baconators for $13. I think it's just there so we get used to seeing like $14 combos because that's what they want it to be. So the sticker shock will wear off. You're like, yeah, $14 combo.
But hey, I'll keep on saying it, not to get political. But although inflation has been high, job rates have been up, unemployment has been down, and gas prices have been down. However, that doesn't mean that we don't have $13 meals, like James is saying. So everything in perspective, because, yeah. My goodness. However, okay, speaking of paying bills, the Patreon, can I send it? Clickety clackety. The best way to help us support the show is by getting around all the red tape and supporting us right there, getting VIP access at patreon.com/Amy Newman. And yeah, with that, our supporters will quickly. In fact, what I'll do is while we're giving the shout out to supporters, I'll really give us pressure under pressure. Because here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to send it in the chat. Come join the panel. And blah, 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 blah. How this works, if you have not been to the show, is
Indeed,
that
Titan.
What is up, Titan? Your anus sound. Oh, no, shit.
What if you had to pay for that? Pay to do that?
I was gonna say, isn't that normally Iron's job or Gavin's job, or maybe mine?
He is so Aaron Ra lives rent free in Sal's head. He is so
in a lot of creationists.
It's
odd. He seems like a nice guy. We've had him on the show twice. He's been nice enough to be on here. Our little old friggin' show like ours.
My first debate with Ken Hovind, I think he mentioned Aaron Ra like 30 times during the debate. I induced it. I goaded him, but he really took the bait on that one.
But and so did Kent when you tried to mention a 15-foot. Anyway, if you'd like to come join the channel while we're doing our shout-outs.
Amy. Mr. Newman doesn't know his whale anatomy over there. Mr. Newman.
Oh. But I know other anatomy if you give me Just give me a little time. And so I will pin this, and sending love. I see him backstage, but just sending love to him in general because he was a fantastic moderator. But I'll compliment him when he was when he gets on here too. But for everyone who's new, what we will say is that when we go into the open mic, feel free to have your own opening statement. Please generally try to tell us when you're done, if there's people behind you, so we can get them in. However, once we get you started, or once the open discussion gets started, then we will just try to get people in as the flow of conversation goes. And with that, our last final shout out. Jeopardy music. Oh, I'm scrolling through the wrong document. Well, that would be why. Hold on. Jazz music. Here we go. Sending love out. Many fantastic supporters like Dale Pastel reminding us that we are just looking for empirical evidence. And evolution's true. So if you have another alternative model, we need to see why. Sending love to Chris Disciple. We have, speaking of which, we have Chris. Many fantastic theists out there. If you want to be a skeptic, you just need to have a little bit of doubt of your beliefs. Sending love, Chris, and all the love that you give us. Sending love. Titan. Oh, thank you so much, Titan. Sending so much love out there. Sending so much love to Dave Gar, reminding us the world is round, and the young Earth community tends to be very religious too. They always get offended how dare you compare us to flat earthers. Now, Fred over here, who we're sitting at the same pew, but I know that he's saying that that's what the Bible really says. But who really listens to Fred anyway?
I mean, Earth could be the center of the universe, right? Because we look out and everything's infinite in any direction. So, yeah, anywhere could be the center of the universe, yes. That doesn't mean geocentrism is true.
It's true.
Yeah, no.
Sending so much love to Dave Gar. The world is round and thick, and it's not. We shouldn't say old. How about older? Older. The world gets very sensitive, but in the span of things, that is to say, the universe is going to be going on for a lot of time. Yes,
hundreds of trillions of years. We are
4.5 billion. Really not that old. 6,000 is just really, really, or 10. Sometimes I say 6,000. They're like, excuse me, 10,000. We are
most
reasonable.
Of them are closer to 6. Yeah,
it's all nonsense now. But sending love.
Give them 100 years from now, they'll be like 5,000 years. It's 5,000 years.
I'll give you 5,000. I'll give you 4,000. Sold. It's like opposite auction. But sending love to Rachel Holland, reminding us that we can go and get us femboys at a club, but please don't go to the nations around you and capture slaves. Don't take the women and children. That's really not the objectively moral good thing to do. Sending so much love. Thank you so much, Rachel. And the last two, and then we're going into the open mic. We've been blabbing long enough. Sending so much love.
This is record time for us.
That's true. We're going relatively fast for Amy time.
Considering we had to talk about the debate, but yeah.
And once again, not only do I think of myself as a master of debates, but sometimes I debate in the morning, sometimes I debate in the evening, and I don't want to say I've been caught, but I have even debated while I was in the shower.
You debate really hard with Rachel, too.
I do. We go back and forth.
I'm just thinking about Goldie when he asked about Rachel and you told him, and like you could just see his head like spin, like what? But you're a trans and she's a trans. Like yeah, his head almost burst into flames.
It goes right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they always have like gotcha questions, or like the every once in a while goes into we attempt to make it's not like a personal thing, but it seems like a personal thing where it's really just like okay. It's like when I see Kent try and do this to other LGBTQ people, and
He didn't try that much with you. He kind of he knew better.
I think, and I know I like that because I think that they can smell the lack of me
Yeah.
giving a shit about gender. I'll defend. In fact, they kind of have kicked me dragging and screaming to talk about it more and to defend. They've sharpened
They bring it up
my
more.
ability to get through all of that nonsense because it always goes like, I do not believe in gender. That is nonsense. I only believe in chromosomes. By the way, my God is a man. He is a father. And if you disagree with me, you are a heathen. Isn't that right, Daddy? I mean, Heavenly Father?
Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy, exactly. They hate that, but those two words, they're just so interchangeable. Anyway, the last two.
Thanks, Regis.
Fucus.
We're almost.
Sending love to Regis. That's right. We have a Skeptic Bible study. We're working out our new time in which we are going to be doing it hopefully once a week now, because that's the only way we're going to get through the Bible. There's just too many books, too much dukes and murdering people. But there's also like a single passage where like a rabbi said like a really nice thing on a mound or something. So that probably makes up for everybody drowning. God is the not only do I like pointing out the non-binary thing, but I love, and this is stolen from Tom Rabbit, but I use like the God is transgender thing against them all the time. He was non-binary, but then, or they were non-binary, but then they became a man, which means they went from no gender to a gender. They transitioned gender. Oh, I kid. But I'm sending love to you, Christians. It's just go check out Sending Love to Tom Rabbit. What's up? Sending love to Leo Felius. Go check out his wonderful debates out there at his channel.
Almost.
And yes, and for the do last but not least, thank you, Regios. Last not least, Ian Davenport. Thank you so much, Ian. All of the apologetic arguments are nonsense. In a debate like evolution, we don't get the contingency argument. Any other debate, now all we do is get the contingency argument or some version of a Kalam argument, because that is all they have left, people. But, we dealt with other stuff. Genetic entropy and that's their wheelhouse here, and Jen's panpsychism. So which, sometimes the pagans, the panpsychisms, the theists of the world, even sometimes the metaphorical theists are on our side. She wasn't for this subject, but there's no reason, if you're religious, to not believe in evolution. Evolution is a theory, a fact, and
Jen, with the slideshow on the Chrome tabs. Yeah, hey, I mean, everybody's got their tech.
But I'm sending love. All right, we now have, and I see you backstage. I'll say out this order, but if you disconnect and you rejoin, then
he's back.
I'll only try and remember it. So we already got Justin, Sinister, Stephanie, and Ben behind stage. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we do have people that are waiting to get on, and so once we start the open conversation, you can have as much time as you like. So just say who you are, what you thought about the debate or the topic itself, or both, and then say thank you so we can keep on going on. And I will thank you back. And so there we go, ladies and gents. Let's get into it. Let's get into the Midnight Ranting Evolution on Trial open mic. What is up, Justin? Welcome on board. We are Midnight Ranting.
My
Thanks
screen
for being
share
patient with us.
my screen share button never got more use than in this debate, constantly switching from slideshow to mainstream.
They were definitely. I know it's funny. I am generally a big PowerPoint person. However, I chose this time just to do its speech. However, you are right. It was definitely like a little, almost a PowerPoint battle, a PowerPoint back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, if I wasn't ready with a finger hovering over that button to switch back and forth, it would have been all over the place. What they didn't realize was when they stopped their screen shares, until I switch it back, it's just them there full screen the whole time, like really close. And Sal, and I don't know if anybody else noticed, but Sal is like this on his camera, right?
Oh, really?
So when he's full screen,
It's
like
very
you could
close
almost
to the
hear.
camera.
You can almost hear the people in the chat like, Sal, just take a step back. You're in my personal space.
Just gotta breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, tonight's debate, I mean, I was there. So, but you guys were talking about Subway earlier, and if you haven't seen or heard of that meatballer, you got to go check that thing out. It's not your dad's meatball sub. This thing's got like the real mozzarella on there, the pepperoni. It's ruined my diet a couple times.
They use quality meat, okay? We may have to pay both an arm and a leg, but use quality meat, goddammit. it.
You might even say that the meatballer is an evolution of the old meatball sub.
Listen, I used to get Kent Hovens. They go through all these like 6 different ways of evolution, and I used to be like, but if there's 6 different ways of evolution, that's just 6 different evolutions. You agree? Evolution's true. Okay, we're done. But I guess it never works that way.
Yeah, that's right. He has like his 5 points of different types of. Is it evolution or types of science?
It's evolution.
Yeah.
Stellar
like
evolution, chemical evolution.
Yeah. Oh man, and he's got a PowerPoint for that
macroevolution.
Got a DVD.
He's got his DVD series.
Well, beginning of the Big Bang. That's an evolution.
In any case, I don't have a whole lot to share. I'll step aside and I'll let your other guests get in here. I just wanted to thank you for coming and having a real respectful debate. I never phoned it in so hard in my life, but it was great. It was awesome. And I almost at one point, if you remember, Amy, at the beginning, when we were privately in the Zoom chat, I even commented that like to keep your comments respectful and no dog piles and things like that. I almost was like, maybe I shouldn't have said nothing because never before have I seen debaters mute their mics in Zoom. Normally, those mics are left hot and everybody's ready to pounce. All of the debaters had their mics muted unless while someone else was talking. I was looking up like, did I mute them? No, I didn't do that.
See, and I get crap sometimes because, some skeptics are like, look, you got to step in there. You got to tell them when in the middle of when they're saying nonsense. And like, I have an impulse, but I try to fight against that because I feel like if you just cut them off in mid-sentence, it doesn't matter if you're like, what you're saying is important and valid. Now, you can't just let them gish gallop. And so it's like this weird balance. But yes, they're all very civil
fine
people.
line to walk.
And I've also I've met they've all been on the channel and we've chatted and then very civil debate. But or maybe you're just an amazing moderator.
No, I don't think that was it at all. It was the debaters for sure. At one point I thought I was gonna like pull a Matt Dillahunty and just start playing chess and just let the thing happen.
Reading
but
papers,
yeah, no,
like I think James does sometimes.
Yeah, I guess I could kind of do that too. But yeah, before I walk away, Amy, can I talk about our little channel? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and we would love to have you over. So we do a similar StreamYard situation where everyone's welcome on stage. And I've been doing for the last couple of weeks this Sunday night show where I present shorts that I find on YouTube that I think are fun to just have discussions about for 10, 15 minutes. Oftentimes they're things we've already talked about a million times before. Other times it's topics that, you know, maybe are brand new, right? Like we talk about, you know, American politics and things of that sort. So not only should you, but anyone in your chat wants to come to Matters Now, our next live stream will be tomorrow. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Woo-hoo. So go check out. We now all have at URLs at YouTube, and so go check out at Matters Now. They had to copy Twitter until Twitter kind of died, but I don't want to get too political. Thank you for.
Does anybody else not want to run out and start like a social networking platform called Twitter? Like, is that not a
My
legal
favorite
thing
thing is just reading news articles, and they're not ready to let it go, and so they have to write formerly Twitter every time that Ray write X, and so that is still my
even my
favorite.
emails still read that way. Even my emails still read formerly Twitter.
No one wants to say X. But okay, let's keep on going down the line. Thank you so very much, Justin. And let's get Sinister Porpoise on here. Sinister, what is up? We are Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. Welcome on board. How are your thoughts? How are you? What are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, anything we talk about?
Hello, Athena.
Hi, I'm the Sinister Porpoise. I did catch the debate. I think she was too focused on something at the end, but I noticed that they kept doing a bait and switch or not bait and switch, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing, but they keep trying to shift the topic towards abiogenesis.
Sure.
Very, very common ploy.
And I don't think Sal was right on a couple things, but I'm going to say he knows more about this than I do, but I'm pretty sure no one really thinks genetic entropy is a thing unless they're a creationist. And I would like to know where he's getting the idea that our gene quality is degrading, because no one I'm aware of is making that argument.
Yep, I think genetic entropy is pretty... trying to be respectful, but was nonsense. I know that's his guy. He learned from the guy who wrote the book about it. However, anyone could write a book. What you need is to have published papers that get peer-reviewed and accepted by other scientists who have verified the data.
People who actually know what they're talking about.
But yeah, anything else, Sinister?
I need to turn that light off back there.
And if not, Stephanie, I will say you're on deck.
Thank you, Sinister.
And all right. Thank you so much both to Sinister and sending love to Athena. Once again, the link to join is in chat, but it is Stephanie now on deck. We then got Ben, Leo, and Doc Dino, and Duvid. What is up? Oh, wow. Send love. He always has a fantastic channel. Yes, that you should check out. And so does Doc. Everybody. All right. So many fantastic people. Let's keep on going down the line, because Jen is on many fantastic shows herself. Let's get her. Jen. Stephanie, now I just crossed beams. Go check out Jen's channel. But Stephanie, please check out Stephanie as we are Midnight Ranting.
If you want. If that's the way you want to roll, that's fine. God damn it. Let me see if I can change this thing right now.
I was going to say, she's like, whatever you're into.
Wherever you go, just call me silly. It's fine. Call
me Bubba.
Call me Bubba. No, don't call me Bubba. Don't. It was a nice debate. I think it was quite civil. It was also quite, oh my God, not again. It just I got to the Sal's equation point, and it's like, all right, when are the books going to start flying? And it just what's this got to do with evolution? It's like, well, this is factual and that's factual and that's factual and this is factual, so therefore this isn't factual. It's like, yeah, no. Anyway, that's all I got. Bring somebody else in. They're smarter than me.
Oh, not at all. I agree. And you should, like I said, check her out on many fantastic shows. Go check her out.
She's all over the place, Stephanie.
In the Line.
Check out my channel. Come on now, people. Get me boosted up.
That's right. In fact, if you're out there, Titan, help me out and see if we can get her link out there.
I'm sure he's got that link ready.
And then with that, we're going to keep on going down the line. We're going to get Ben.
Ben?
What is up? We are Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. What are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we can talk about?
Yeah, debate was civil. Good to see you inside Garte. Thought a little bit of people talking past each other, but that's normal. Yeah, it was a good listen.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Ben, and welcome on board.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, we'll keep on going down. And I'm trying to think. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we're doing good still on. You can see the gears going off in my head trying to make sure we have spots.
Remember,
there we go.
Kind of time limited, so.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I work in the morning.
Well, whenever you are, James, I'll still go for an hour past that just for the community, and then we'll call that a wrap up. It'll be a thing. And then, okay, because we're streaming again tomorrow because it's specifically Randolph Richardson's big, when we all get together and do the Theist Helpline tomorrow. And so...
the official Theist Helpline.
The official Theist Helpline. But yes, Ivan Blabbin, Leo, what is up? We are Midnight Ranting on Evolution, on Trial. What are your thoughts about the subject, the debate, or anything we can talk about?
Well, the first thing I do want to clarify that is probably quite obvious to almost everybody sitting in here is that genetic entropy is obviously a terrible idea that doesn't work. And usually that discussion leads to another one that creationists don't like talking about. If you don't believe me, go to my channel and watch the video entitled "The One Question That Infuriates Creationists," or something like that. And that's how do you determine good mutations versus bad mutations? Because the argument is that mutations in our DNA just get progressively worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And so, it's like our genetic code is breaking down over time, whatever that's supposed to mean. But again, that just like, well, okay, so what do you mean by worse? Like what's happening? How do we determine that a mutation is creating worse genetic information than not? They don't have any standards for determining that. It's kind of like this open claim with nothing, sitting underneath it. The idea just makes no sense. With respect to the debate, I saw a little bit of it. It was pretty decent. But it's kind of like flat earth debates. I don't really know what to say anymore. Like I don't. The world will move past your idiotic ideas like they have every other one that has fallen to the dustbin of history. You can sit there and debate on YouTube channels, but the fact that the only debates about this that are happening are on YouTube channels says a lot about the quality of their position. Because people on the evolutionary side are debating it, but they're not debating it on YouTube channels. They're debating it in the halls of academia. I wonder why the creationists don't ever seem to be there.
Well, I just want to say... Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I'll just say it's not a debate over whether evolution's true or not. They're in academia. They're debating how it works, what mechanisms it uses, but they're not questioning whether it's valid or not as a theory.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was thinking back to what Dr. Dan said when he was talking about genetic entropy, that that species have a shelf life. So eventually a species will accumulate enough mutations that its a new species, but that doesn't mean that it's deteriorating or that it's you know, less able to survive. It's just evolution. That's how evolution works.
And you know me, I love my analogies, so I just want to draw one that would also Sal would disagree with, and that's that it's similar to what's going on in cosmology. Cosmologists aren't debating whether or not the universe is expanding. That's not what they're debating. It is. They're debating how fast.
And I just wanted to point out that when Jen brought up language, because she tried to say that what was that, Amy? She tried to say language was a theory because it has. She tried to say language was a theory, but languages evolve. Just like
language
biology.
I have some points to ping pong back and forth with Leo about, but you probably want to get your next guest in here.
Well,
so
just hold that for 1 second. We have Dr. Dino and is it always? I always get. I feel like he's corrected me a million times, but on his name. Yeah, so if I get it wrong, no, and then David. We're going to get both of them in here, and then we'll be in the open conversation. I know James also has to eventually get to sleep. Oh, we really do. We're going to be at a full deck after this. So, Dr. Dino,
It feels good.
welcome. We have
howdy.
been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. Lovely to have you on. And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we've been talking about tonight?
An experienced debater
Well,
himself, by the way.
Well, not really experienced. I got 2 or 3, but let's see. I got 2 or 3
You've been
things
in the ring.
ping pong around my head. First, debate was good. You did good. Sai,
Thank you.
I have problems with Sai, but I think he did all right overall. Sal, I don't really like Sal's strategy. I feel like he kind of flounders, and frankly, I have no idea what Jen's on about, ever. Let's see. Also, on the subway thing you guys have been talking about, speaking as a recovering fat kid, I can't remember a time a meal at Subway wasn't $13, and it still is today.
Oh boy.
And as someone who has a degree in paleontology / evolutionary biology, yeah, evolution is not debated in university. It's like very specific mechanisms are like, is X a bigger deal or is Y a bigger deal? That's it. Evolution as a whole is colloquially we would refer to it as a fact.
Well, I just
honestly.
I think it should be pointed out that neither of their degrees were in biology. One was a biology-related degree in bioinformatics, which is a combination of biology and informatics, and adjacent
and even with sorry, go ahead.
Adjacent to computer science, and the other one seemed to be a computer scientist or mathematician.
Are you talking about Sal with the bio-adjacent degree?
Was that the Asian-looking one?
Did Sal say he had this degree?
I feel like I've heard it at other places, but let's say he does have a bio degree.
It's got like 5 or 6 degrees.
Well, I'll just say Project Steve. People in the know, Project Steve. There are more biologists with a PhD named Steve than there are PhDs in general that don't believe in evolution. It's fabulous, and that is my piece. I got to go refill my water.
Yeah, I wanted to at least push back. That was the one where they were trying to make it sound like evolution is not the backbone of modern biology, and as far as we can tell, yes, it isn't. No, I want to get. Oh no, say something, James. Then
I was just gonna say maybe because I know David, him and Jen, they used to do the show a lot, so they network together a lot. So maybe he can kind of shed some light on maybe her position a little bit more, because I know some people had some questions about it. So
So if I remember, even they separate on even though they're friends. So that's
Well, they
always
don't do-
enjoyable.
they don't-
so.
he gets her ready for debates. Like that is her debate prep
Sure.
guy. He runs her through the ringer. I mean, they disagree, but he certainly stimulates her.
Hey, I'm just happy we
There's a
got
joke somewhere, but that's actually too easy. So we're just going to, because Burton's gonna go. What were you saying, sister?
I'm just happy I got a PhD on record saying DNA is not Turing complete.
That's true. And okay.
And Jen
Turing-
herself is backstage now.
I was just going to say Jesus did not die for our sins, but Turing did, however, die for us.
What?
Oh, sorry. I
Well,
just remembered one last thing.
Yes,
I'd
not
kinda like to
died
say.
for us, but he died in the hands, and he actually saved us because he did the German Enigma.
He helped us. He helped us win
Crack
World
the
War II.
war codes.
Yeah.
Yes, help us win World War II. Someone, were you about to say something?
Me. Yeah, just you were talking earlier about gender too. Gender is overrated. Like whoever you like, as long as they're of legal age. Go ahead.
I
Have fun.
agree. No, I always joke that, for years, James and we've just spent time just doing religion, and like a new wave of just like religious people going crazy on gender has emerged. And so like I now have to make more commentary on it. But they used to be like, oh, all you want to talk about is identity politics. And then we're like, okay, let's talk about religion. And they're like, oh, let's talk about you not being a... And I'm like, you know what? Okay, you talk about whatever you want.
They can't get that girl dick off their mind.
Can I say
They
one
can't.
sentence?
Sure.
Hey, it can be good.
I just wanted to say that gender is kind of important because it relates to the way that we refer to people and how we refer to people, and ensuring that we're referring to people the way they would like to be referred to is very important, at least to me.
Sure.
Fair. I was meaning more like
Common
I don't
courtesy.
discriminate against others, whatever their gender or their gender preferences. That's all.
As a bisexual, pansexual, I sponsor something.
It's clearly
Same here.
important to it's clearly
We better get
important to
over
a number
them.
of the folks that it's clearly important to a number of the folks that appear on these debates, because obviously the actual topic is not. I mean, they're engaging. Several people on this panel have already said the science is pretty much settled. This is not a matter of debate in serious circles. So why is it a matter of debate in religious circles? Because there's an agenda behind it. Because there's an agenda behind it, and they will use every little nook and cranny of chicanery to get at that agenda. Why did Sal and Rebecca Davis break up over gender, over sexuality? There's a deeper meaning here. There's a deeper meaning here with what people are bringing to these conversations than sheer evolution or flat Earth or creation. It's a program about education, about science, about understanding, about humanity that is a real struggle, and I think it deserves some recognition.
Couldn't agree more. But also, we need to... I'm going to do multiple things here. So, sending love to Goth and Udif and Sumami and Immutable Destiny, Sunflower, anybody who we didn't say, Rain, anybody who we didn't say hi to, keep on. But we are going to add in Dovid, and then when Dovid is done, we're going to swap out James and Jen, because I think we have to let James go to bed.
I will
And
probably
then-
pass out. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
and
swap
then-
Neo too.
Oh my. And then from that, I'm going to have an hour timer on the clock. We'll go for about 1 more hour.
Swap
and
me,
then-
daddy.
Oh my.
bad
Sponsored by
boy.
Pepperidge Farm. So yes. We are going to add in Dovid. Oh. Dovid.
Welcome,
We
Dovid.
are Midnight Ranting on Evolution Trial. Lovely to have you on. And what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything we can talk about?
Oh yeah, Amy, thanks for having me on. Been a while. Yeah, evolution is one of my favorite topics to debate. It's probably up there with one of the most important debates. I'd say evolution is probably like the top 5 debate subjects, up there with like like abortion, capitalism, um, politics. Just in American society, it's about an
Coke
equal
versus
divide,
Pepsi.
where I think about half of people in America oppose evolution, half are for, although there's a big mismatch in academia where the majority of experts, especially in medicine and biology, overwhelmingly support evolution. One of the main reasons
And
it's
in
important,
agriculture.
yeah, one of the main reasons it's important to debate is two things I wanted to touch on. One is I thought, I mean, everyone was professional and intelligent in the debate. I thought it was structured maybe poorly in a way that it could have went better. One, I mean, I think generally the affirmative goes forward. That if you have the evolution side go first, just a general practice. Why the negative went first, and the openings maybe should have been longer because it seemed like no one finished their presentation besides Amy, who didn't have one. And then the arguments didn't really follow in a structured way where just like they talked about one subject then moved on to the next, and so it's just like a mismatch the whole thing where no one finished their introductions, and then the arguments just jumped from one to the other, and it's hard to follow. And evolution at this point is such a large topic where what are you actually debating? So most people care about the evolution debate that are against evolution because they have religious leanings. Could be young Earth creationism, but more likely because people believe in the existence of the soul. They believe that the essential I is not the body and survives death, or the power of prayer, or various mystical beliefs that the metaphysics of evolution tend to reject. That evolution has an alternative explanation of phenomenon. And if I believe in religious spiritual phenomenon, then evolution appears to be in opposition. Then you say, well, am I in opposition to science and truth? And then if you're going to debate evolution as a larger topic, how are you going to frame it? Is it a debate on the philosophy of science, or is it within the science itself where you're debating like, no, we're all scientists here, but as a scientist, I think that evolution is scientifically incorrect? Or you're coming at it from, well, I'm not a scientist, or like a metaphysics philosophy of science, where science, yes, like evolution is true in some respect to science, but science is limited in the power of what it could explain, and you need other phenomenon to explain, like spiritual phenomenon, or things like the soul. So I thought the debate could have been better if it was more well defined and structured, and clear what the people were going to argue, and smooth transitions from topic to topic.
Thank you so very much, Duvid. It is lovely having
Thank you.
you on. I agree that it's an important topic because so many, especially, well, it doesn't matter what country, but we just have a religious country here, which I think divides us over this evolutionary line. And so, and we, unfortunately, we export it. And so no matter, though it affects really the world around, because if you think about it, especially whether it is Islamic countries that will reject it, whether it is the former Christian empires, we want them to accept it, and I think mostly it is accepted very well in Israel. But once again, we need all of the religious people on board. I know Jen is in the Abrahamic religion, and so I want to give her really a chance to say whatever she would like as well. And so I'm going to do it in two ways, though, because 1, 2, 3,
Two ways.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, that will be our 10th. So we're going to swap out. James, I hope you had a nice night. You're going to be our first outro of the night of Evolution on Trial. It is lovely having you
My
on.
assistant here, my lovely assistant. You have to put me on full screen. I'm not going to take very long, but I just want to thank everybody for coming. Amy, you did very well in the debate. I think actually Jen, she's backstage. Sorry, I didn't get to see. I got to work in a few hours. Unfortunately, we still have our capitalist system that we all are slaves to. But
hey, James, can I ask what kind of work you do? You don't have to share if you don't want.
No, I work in retail management.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I am
a
a
retail
question
manager,
too,
huh?
Actually,
Yeah, retail management. So
You have
yeah,
my
this time of
sympathy
year
this time of
we
year.
are going full bore. But I think Jen
Yeah, that
did,
time of
did
year.
well in the debate too. I think she made some good points. She certainly articulated herself well, and yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great night.
well, wait.
Peace out,
Before
James.
you go, James, real
Yes,
quick question.
Doctor. Sure.
You made an allusion to a lovely assistant earlier. So, which of you is wearing the magician's outfit, and which of you is wearing the bunny suit?
Oh, my. I will have to say, sometimes we flip a coin. That might have been too spicy of a question. No, because we might have said
That was
James
the perfect
to his
response,
knees.
Amy.
Thank you. And all right, with that, oh, he's back.
Well, that's I'm kind of the assistant. He really runs things more than I do. He, without him, the streams would be lost. So he definitely thanks you guys for your Patreon and your super chats, for his litter and treats and everything. Thanks, guys.
And all right, night, James. Thank you so very much
Night,
for
everybody.
coming on.
Peace out, bud.
Good to see everybody.
We'll have another stream up and coming. Our Thursday stream dedicated, our Sunday stream at least tomorrow as well, and much more fun. But we're still going to be going for one more hour, like I said. So I'm sending love to James, and double love, and we are adding in Jen. Jen, we are Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. We're having fun. What are your thoughts? I saw Send Love. We had your channel pinned up originally. You should all go check out Jen's channel. But what are your thoughts about the debate, the topic, or anything on your mind?
Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone else. Thanks for having me. In retrospect, we should have had longer for the intros. And I should have just skipped straight to my what turned out to be rather wordy explanation about my alternate model for evolution. So by and large, I'm pretty happy, other than I kind of honestly felt sorry for Amy, because like Duvid sort of predicted this too, that it might turn into a 3-on-1. So
there's a
I
joke
guess
in there somewhere too, but I'm just gonna
I know, I'm
leave that
thinking
there.
can I tie it to the Socratic gangbang? Not sure, but yeah, I'm just I really like sportsmanship. So when the other side appears to be, when one person on the other side appears to be agreeing with you, is sort of not bad sportsmanship, but I guess I would have preferred it be a little bit more clear that we were on opposite sides. But overall, I think it made evolution look pretty weak, though I think Amy did her best to defend it. And yeah, go ahead. That's all I had to say.
Well, no, I saw this because in preparing for this, I saw your and his debate, and it was if it could be even more cordial, because I think I was the temperature turner if there was one. He is stuck a little bit in between because he. All of the literature, all the videos I've seen of him is him going around talking about why abiogenesis hasn't been proven yet. And so when he's on this debate field, it's really about flipping that switch and being like, because it's always how he presents himself is, of course, evolution is true, but let me tell you why abiogenesis, it hasn't been proven yet, and maybe God is hidden right here. But when we're not talking about that, I think it puts him in a position where he has to go, these are the people that I'm so used to agreeing with. And so, yes.
But I thought the whole reason abiogenesis is a hypothesis is because there is no clear indication that any particular one of the competing hypotheses are true.
That's correct. And I've heard from some origins of life researchers that we may never have like a full picture of how life really began on this planet, because there are so many different pathways chemically that could have been taken. We may only be able to say here's the set of pathways that could have been taken, but never know which one was taken.
I just thought of something. I want to see Leophilius versus Duvid debate evolution now.
Well, we agree on the matter, so I don't know what that would do.
Yeah, and also just to add to your point, Leo, like we have a
you think
bunch
God
of
made all the
competing
animals,
hypotheses, but we have a bunch of competing hypotheses, but it's really a problem of which of these is true. Like we know how this could happen, but which is the right one?
This is why I kind of
it's like
chuckle.
a math equation where x can be 2, 5, or 8. Which is
possibly which combination? I mean, it's not it's
true.
Not necessarily just one route,
But there are
this is why I kind of laugh.
There are certain math equations where x can be 2, 5, and 8.
Yeah. I'm not a math person. I try to draw an analogy.
But this is why I laugh when people say when people like James Stewart, we have no explanation for how life got started. Well, actually, we do. It's that we have so many. They're all quite plausible in a variety of ways and in combinations even. But we don't know really which ones. So it's just because none of them explains every single step. Not all of them explain how proteins might have come about, or how the first replicators might have came about, or how something like the Krebs cycle might have came about. But different models can explain those, maybe some other things, but then they don't capture. None of these models captures the full picture, and I don't think that there's going to be a single model that does.
It's perfectly okay not to know. What's not okay is to claim that you know when you don't. And the I said didn't I? But when you claim that you know when you don't know, it doesn't seem reasonable. Well, how do you know? Because it's written in this book over here. Well, but that's not a good reason to say yet. I mean, to me, it's far more fun to keep looking for something you might know rather than what was written in a particular religious tradition's book.
Well,
and I mean, like, let's say we never find out how life got started. That's 3 point something or 4 billion years ago. Let's say we never find it out. That doesn't negate the 3 point something billion years of life history we have recorded.
Exactly.
Well, what this is essentially a category error, because evolution only begins once life reproduces.
Yep.
If life never produced or never changed, evolution would not occur. Also, I'd like to come back on something. I'm not a math person either. I'm just studying math's weird, rebellious child.
Fair.
And Sci started with that, saying, hey, it's not abiogenesis. It starts after that, right? He began with that.
There is a comment that was made in the live chat that I want to respond to. I don't think it's true that all of science rests on metaphysical claims. I don't think that the natural laws rest on metaphysical claims. I don't think the existence and behavior of quantum fields rests on metaphysical claims. I don't think that most of the standard model of elementary particles or the standard model of cosmology either rest on metaphysical claims. I would say quite plainly that we can ask metaphysical questions about some of these things, but I don't think these things in and of themselves, or the theories and models we have which describe them, or even the methods through which we discovered them, necessarily rest on metaphysical claims. Some of
Whoa,
science
hold-
does,
hold
perhaps,
on. Aren't
but I
there a
don't
lot
think
of
all of science
Theology
does.
doesn't either.
Aren't there a lot of metaphysical assumptions kind of baked into all of that, though?
That's one of the,
I
there's
don't think so.
metaphysical assumptions to everything, and I mean just the physics to the scientific method, to chemistry, to biology, to information theory, and evolution presumes all of these fields to be to put together a joint theory. The evolution is not uniquely a biological theory. It combines. I mean, biology itself necessitates information theory, physics, and chemistry.
Yes,
And
it's an
so
emergent
evolution-
theory.
Okay, could you explain better? Because I think either I don't have enough information, which is possible, because philosophy, academic philosophy, is something I find incredibly boring. But I think you're conflating different things, and maybe other people can pick it out.
Well, I would just be curious, what's like a metaphysical principle that science rests upon? What would be an example of one?
Well, I mean, generally, the science rests upon that there are universal laws of nature that could be described with mathematical.
Yeah, but we observed those. We
formulas.
discovered those. We didn't need metaphysics. Metaphysics could not exist, and we'd still have natural laws, and we would still have
Physics
discovered them.
relies on the possibility of the measurement of amount. That's a metaphysical claim.
I don't really know
Hold
what
on.
that means.
I think there might be differing
Well,
definitions
clearly,
here.
you're defending materialism.
How are
I
you
haven't
defining
made
metaphysics?
I
Because
haven't made any claims about materialism. I could be saying everything that I'm saying and believe in God, so I don't understand that either.
how are you defining metaphysics? Because I think it has a slightly different definition than
I'm defining
philosophy.
it the way that an academic philosopher would, as a field of academic philosophy in which questions, fundamental questions, can be asked about
Okay,
the
but
natures of things.
That was a question for Duvid and Jen.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
mean, generally, it's the branch of philosophy that deals with first principles, including
Yeah.
abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. And all of these
Yeah.
things, science
very
needs
general.
to presuppose that science already works with these definitions in place. I mean, that science arose recently that as a branch of metaphysics that was, from Galileo to Descartes to Newton, where the root of the tree is metaphysics, the trunk is physics, and then the branches are the sciences. And now there's other understandings of science. There's attempts to do away with metaphysics, but you need certain presuppositions, even if you're like, well, I exist. There is a physical reality. The nature of the physical
Those are more
reality.
epistemic presuppositions, and literally everything. Getting in your car and
So
driving
I
to
want
work
to just real quick
presupposes- hold
answer
on,
how I define
haven't
metaphysics.
I haven't
Yeah, but I was asked a question about
so
metaphysics and
the
how I
thing
define
is-
it. If you don't mind,
the
could
thing
I
is,
please
if
answer
you
the question
read
before
the
you start
actual
rambling? Is
academic
that okay?
Metaphysicians, when they talk about metaphysics and its relation to science, like I have, you don't see this claim that like all of science rests on metaphysical principles. There's certainly a relation between metaphysics and science, and particularly metaphysics and fundamental like physics. But the idea that like science comes out of metaphysics, I don't even think the metaphysicians of science would say that, because I don't see them saying that as somebody who
Because they're
studies
not
quite
educated, they
quite
don't know the
in-depth.
history and
Can I
philosophy
just
of
jump
science.
in
Well,
real quick and say that
I
my
do.
system, in
I
my
read it.
system, metaphysics will still meet the criteria that you're describing, but I have a very specific definition of metaphysics, which is the strategic conditions for observability. So it's a bit of a logic in understanding how we understand the conditions for observability, but it still
What
meets
does
the
that
standard
mean?
definition.
What do you mean by conditions of observability? I'm confused by that phrase.
Well, earlier I said physics presupposes the possibility of the measurement of amount, and you said that
I
that
don't know
didn't
what
make
that
sense.
means.
So which
Yeah, to
part
me, it
doesn't make
doesn't.
sense? Which part?
Measurability of amount. I don't understand. I don't know what you
Oh,
mean
really?
by that.
Which part?
I just told you. You said measurability of amount.
Okay, so
I don't
do
know
you
what
not
that
know what
means.
measurability means or amount?
Well, I can know what the words mean, but then when you put them together, when you compound words to make a sentence, it can mean something different than the individual words. So that's what I'm getting at. I understand the individual words, but I'm struggling to understand what you mean when you compound them into the sentence that you spoke.
Okay, so amounts are
Amounts of
hypothetical
what?
things.
Are you talking about
Anything.
just measurement itself?
Anything. Measurement of amount is a presupposition of physics, definitionally.
I don't know what
In
that
physics, we're
means.
measuring amounts. You can measure the amount of electrons. You can measure the density of water. We're measuring amounts in physics. You want to take issue with that? I don't know what to tell you. Pick up a textbook.
Well, we measure certain amounts, but not all measurements
Physics
are going to be an
presupposes the
amount of some
coherence
sort.
and intelligibility of the measurement of amount. So
I still
measurement entails something mathematical.
Hold on. If I can, I think I want to see if I've got what you're trying to say, Jen, if you don't mind. Are you saying physics assumes that we can measure quantities?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Measuring quantities, yeah.
Well, I mean,
But I wouldn't say
specifically
physics
what I said.
assumes
Like,
that.
I
I would
don't,
say
I don't know what
physics
I don't know
does
what a
that.
quantity is exactly. So I mean exactly what I said. Measurement of amount.
Like distance or how many distance it is?
Yeah, so I
How
can measure
many-
the amount of distance between you and I using physics.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah,
anytime.
well,
Are you saying, may I,
Stephanie,
may I-
ask your question, but then after there's a response, in a second, we're going to get a mutable in. But back to you, Stephanie. That's fine.
Yeah, my question is, it proposes an ability to measure something, right? It presupposes the ability to conduct measurements
That's correct.
of amounts.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's all I'm
But-
saying. I haven't
but
actually
so-
gotten to an explanation of metaphysics. I'm just starting the explanation, but what you're saying sounds in line with what I said.
Pedro, where the information is stored in our brain is kind of a abstract concept in informatics because it doesn't become information until we interpret it in some way. You're
I'm
asking
an
where the data is
engineer.
stored.
And I measure amounts all the time, like even electrons. I have a multimeter. It tells me how many electrons are flowing in the circuit. It's not something I necessarily presuppose. I do it, but there's a whole lot that's built on top of. Like, I look at the screen on this thing and it tells me how many coulombs per second, right? But
Those are all
that's pretty high
presuppositions.
level.
Those are all presuppositions. I mean, science is not.
Those aren't presuppositions.
Science cannot define itself. It needs presuppositions to work off of, such as an eye, an observer, material, laws, universal
Well, but
mathematics.
those are things that are just
But-
there. Like, they're not presupposed.
Those are metaphysical presuppositions.
But once those presuppositions are granted, actual work can take place, and the result of that work. I mean, is there anyone here that would object to the presupposition that we have the capacity to measure amounts, and possibly to even check, as to whether we are measuring them accurately or inaccurately?
I mean, even a weed
I mean,
or an eye is a
to me,
presupposition.
the results are, the results in our ability to check, because we're also capable of the ability of measuring error, so we can compute the degree of precision in which we're measuring something and the degree of error that is involved in that measurement. And therefore, once we make an observation that wherein the probability is that the measurement is correct as opposed to the measurement being incorrect, we have a fact within a certain degree of precision and probability of it being a true fact, something that is actually true in the physical world. Now, if you want to tear down the edifice of science, the edifice of any scientific principle, by going after well, it's all based on metaphysics anyway. That seems to me to be a fool's errand, because the edifice of science has built the world that we live in. Our capacity to conduct this conversation at 12:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in various time zones all across the goddamn world via the internet.
No, but
We
there are
wouldn't
no
my
be
point,
able
my
to
point,
do
no,
that
this just real quick. If I
otherwise.
could just finish my point real quick, is that in
I'm done.
presupposing the coherence of the measurement of amount, I know it just looked like David was about to say something. In presupposing the coherence of the measurement amount, you're presupposing both mathematical and mechanical attribution, neither of which you can determine with any certainty within your current framework. So that's all I wanted to say. And I'm not against science. Obviously, I'm using science to make some of these deductions. So
Okay, so
Sorry,
you're saying
Exactly,
That is an
and to which at the end of the day I go, so what? At the end of the day, we have this product, and this product is proof that the method has worked, and perhaps that the underlying assumptions are correct.
The stuff that
Yeah.
Duvid mentioned seemed a lot more fundamental to me than measurement.
Yeah, because
Yes.
there is no universally accepted scientific metaphysics. There's a debate among
That's because
scientists
it's not scientific.
about the metaphysics, and it has different implications for how you understand scientific theories. And so to say, well, what's your metaphysics? So if you say that there's something more fundamental to science, and that thing that's more fundamental to science is metaphysics, so then we have to debate metaphysics, and people who haven't studied the philosophy of science may just assume that, like, oh, there's this universally agreed upon metaphysics of science, which there's not. Just look into it. Basically all philosophers of science fundamentally disagree about almost every single issue.
And
Are you talking about
I
stuff
wouldn't
like
say that.
scientific realism, anti-realism, that kind of stuff?
That
Yeah,
would be
those
one
agree.
metaphysical perspective on science.
Sorry,
that,
ma-
Well, those are
but
schools of
it's
metaphysics.
not going to have like a bearing on the empiricality of science and our ability to do it. And that's, I think, one of the things that Stephanie was getting at.
But
is,
it does.
Sure, there might be certain metaphysical assumptions that we have to make before we do science, but we can still do the science. So what?
And on that, actually, on that notion, we're just going to take a very quick pause because Justin has to go, and Immutable. Oh, that's so funny. And I think maybe Immutable was DCing. That's okay. Well, we're going to let Justin have his outro, and Immutable, if you want to come back, please do, and you have a seat. However, Justin, our lovely moderator of the night, it has been lovely having you on with us. It was lovely having you on with the debate. I thought you were a fantastic moderator, but we've been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. And where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, tomorrow night we'll be on Matters Now, doing a show. We're just going to watch some YouTube shorts where the bar will be significantly lower than the conversation here, but still will be a lot of fun. I personally am not high enough level to compete in this dungeon, so I'm just going to back away and go play some video games, I think.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, Justin. It was lovely having you on and Midnight Ranting with us.
thanks for
Thank you.
hosting, Justin. You're great.
It was a pleasure.
Sorry, may I take over for a quick second? There was something I wanted to say on that discussion.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that whole metaphysics discussion, great, fun. Glad you guys are enjoying it.
Well, no.
While
but-
you're arguing about that, like people who do science, like what I learned to do, we're going to be over here like building houses and cars and ignoring all of this metaphysics stuff because it has very little practical application to
Why should that matter,
doing
though?
things.
Why should that matter? Why can't we think about these things really hard and have interesting discussions about
No,
more fundamental
no.
features of what we do? And I'm not
Oh,
saying
wait,
that you're
Leo,
saying
Leo.
that we can't, but the
Leo,
point
weren't
that I
you
want to
just
make is
saying,
that
why does
I
it
don't
matter?
want to make this distinction where there's like the scientists who actually get things done.
Okay,
And then the
let me
philosophers
clarify.
who just think really
I'm-
hard about stuff like
I'm not.
that's not
I'm
how
not-
the world works.
Okay, I'm not saying that these conversations can't be valuable. It's just that, well, you can have these conversations. Like, it's not something we have to worry about every single time we run an experiment.
Of
Like,
course. Nobody's
are
saying
there
it is.
assumptions we have to make? Yeah, there are. Everyone makes assumptions to do everything. You assume you can take your next breath and that your heart will continue pumping. Like, you just have to accept that, and then you can do stuff.
Me, like an
So-
idiot, I assumed my car would start this morning, and I was wrong.
And
No,
we're
I couldn't do
skeptical
that.
about your starting
made
point
that
in
bold
science
assumption.
because, admittedly, you don't even understand your own starting point. So we have every right to be skeptical about it.
I don't
Listen,
know.
I-
You can
I
be
start my
skeptical
day
about.
at
You
8
can be
a.m. with a
skeptical. You can be skeptical about the foundations, and you're you're welcome to do that. But you can't be skeptical about the results. You
Listen.
can't be skeptical. If you were skeptical about
I'm
the
sorry,
results,
but I
then
can
you
be
wouldn't-
skeptical about the results. I
Well,
can
You
say
can,
all your
yes, sure you can.
technological.
Sure,
I can say
sure.
all
No,
your
no, no, no,
technological
no, no.
advancements
Whoa,
have nothing to do with your science
Easy,
knowledge.
easy,
I
easy,
can
easy,
question the link
easy,
between
easy.
science. Excuse me, you're misrepresenting what I'm saying here. I can question the link between science knowledge
haven't said-
and technological advancement, as they have nothing to do with each other. Technological advancement is mostly about computers, which is signal processing, which has nothing to do with physics almost.
The steam
What?
engine
What
is
about
made
the
of
Ford
oil.
computers?
Whoa. Now wait a minute. I need to
Signal processing has
question
nothing
you.
to do with
Now
physics.
I need to question your epistemology, because where do you think those technological advancements came from, if not from understanding the laws of quantum physics?
Hold on.
None of them do. Like, nobody can draw me a line
Okay.
from quantum mechanics to modern technological advancements. That just comes from trial and error and understanding
Really?
matter physics.
Really?
It comes
And
from
don't
Really?
understanding
stuff
the
like that
Do you
practical
know how
applications of
transistor
particle
works? Do you know how transistor works?
I know it involves understanding how matter physics works.
Jen,
Yes, indeed, and matter physics is intrinsically tied to the way
That
matter behaves, and the way matter behaves is entirely described by quantum mechanics.
Yeah, but what
Jen,
you're saying Elon Musk is the greatest
let me
scientist in the world.
interject
You're
here.
saying no, Elon Musk is an
No,
engineer.
Let me interject here.
He
for a
makes
second.
things. He doesn't necessarily
If we
have.
did not
Okay,
understand quantum mechanics,
I'll let the
modern
real scientists
electronics
take over, and
would
the
not be
cellmate,
possible.
the seamstress is going to fade
Well, I mean,
into
you're
the
making an
background.
argument for Elon Musk. You're saying Elon Musk is the greatest
No
scientist
one's making
in the
an
world.
argument for Elon Musk.
Nobody
Who mentioned
the
Elon
idiot.
Musk?
Well, you're talking about the people who make things. Elon Musk makes
Elon
the greatest
Musk
of all
didn't make
things.
it.
Elon Musk
great,
makes
he's not
nothing.
the only person.
He owns. He does not produce.
But modern electronics would not be possible without our understanding of quantum physics, along with the application of Boolean algebra.
I'm sorry, but quantum mechanics understanding has nothing to do with technology. And if you want to disprove me, go ahead and draw me a line from the presuppositions
phone.
of quantum mechanics
I'm
from the
disproving you
Copenhagen
right now.
interpretation.
I'm just
to anything in
exceptionally
technology.
curious.
Would-
I'm just,
would-
I'm-
no.
I'm just exceptionally
Somebody do it.
curious.
Somebody do it who can actually do it, because
I mean-
Nobody
can't,
can
but I
because it
can
can't be done. I
guarantee.
studied this in university. No, it can't be done.
So
I
I'm
did it.
just very curious.
Does
I mean,
radiometric decay
I'm
count?
just.
Because I can explain
God
to you how
Lord.
that works.
No, that's pre-quantum mechanics.
Okay.
That's
No,
nothing
it
to do with
is quantum mechanical, actually.
Right.
What?
Hey,
Can you
immutable.
derive the
do you happen to
Radiometric
have
Schrodinger
an
decay
equation?
is
LED
quantum
wait, you
mechanical
can't
property.
derive the
flashlight near you?
Schrodinger equation for anything more complicated than helium. Congratulations.
Yeah, because it's we don't.
What's your
it's
point
not
exactly?
power, not because
What-
it can't be done.
What?
You could theoretically
I
describe
mean-
planetary mechanics with quantum mechanics, but we don't have a computer the size of the fucking galaxy because you couldn't get a computer the size of a galaxy. So it's
Nice
not
faith
that it
statement,
can't be
bro.
done.
Well, you
It's
could
that
conceive
we
of
don't
one. You could at
have
least think of
computational
one.
power.
And
But
that would be an
also-
that would be an epistemological thing, and
So-
perhaps through that particular epistemology, we will eventually have one the size of a galaxy. But the point is, we've developed the computational facility to find ways of making linkages that allow us to build transistors and allow us to build and allow us to understand how to build them ever smaller, to the point where we can have little cameras up here and little things that go out on the interwebs and do all the cutesy things. And you can't say that the fundamental science has nothing to do with the technology from which it emerges.
I think
The
there are two
electron
things
microscopes
happening.
use quantum mechanics.
Stop.
I guess those aren't important. LEDs, which is almost every form of lighting currently on the planet, uses quantum mechanics because they're light-emitting diodes. Atomic clocks that are pretty damn
Okay, so I
useful
guess
for
Thomas
society and the
Edison,
military.
in your view, was a
use
quantum
quantum
mechanical
mechanics.
physicist. Was
I
Thomas
want-
Edison a quantum mechanical
Jen,
physicist?
you asked us for a practical application
Was
of quantum
Thomas
mechanics. We're
Edison-
Did
giving you
Edison
some.
No, I
develop a
didn't
filter
ask
we're
for a
giving you
practical
LED,
application. I
or
asked
did
for
he
you to draw me a
develop
line
an
from the
incandescent light bulb?
Copenhagen
Holy
interpretation
shit, what
to
kind of
Jen.
statement is
physics.
that?
Jen, Leo, I think there's two things
And
going
let's
on
go
here.
back to the computer
Most
thing.
modern computing is trying to avoid quantum effects. Quantum computing right now is expensive and not very reliable. We do need
It's not very
understandings of
efficient
quantum
either.
mechanics to get modern computing because we use electronics, but that's not quite what Jen is saying. She's saying something a little bit different, if I'm understanding her at all.
What I'm saying is that
Okay.
modern quantum theory comes from a previous understanding of chemistry, and something having light in it doesn't mean that it's quantum theory, because that would make Thomas Edison a quantum theorist.
Did Thomas Edison develop an LED?
He developed the light bulb.
Hey,
Did he develop an
Like,
LED?
honestly.
I didn't say light bulb. I said
Hey.
LED. Those are not the same thing.
for what it's worth, electrical
Like,
engineer
honestly.
here. I did take semiconductors. A lot of this stuff is just, solid state physics. Zener diodes rely on tunneling, which is a quantum effect, but like most of it doesn't rely strictly on quantum mechanics unless you get really tiny.
And it doesn't mean that the engineers used the theoretical physical models to come up with their discovery. It could have just been trial and error. And there's a certain level of modeling, computer modeling, and practical effect for engineer and effect to connect that to the model is a presupposition. And when you're talking about evolution, evolution is really not even a form of engineering. It's a metaphysical framework to understand science. So if you're talking like biomedical engineering, even drug discovery, which is largely based on evolution, or immunology, which is based on evolutionary science, is still more a form of engineering than application of evolutionary science.
I just want to make an observation.
Well,
here, if I may.
John, if you're going to grant that I don't really understand the point of the conversation at this point. I'm at a
it
loss
seems
to
like
really,
if we're going to take...
I am at an absolute loss to understand. Okay, at which point do you want to start tearing down the edifice of the modern scientific program here?
Well, if we understand it well enough,
Is it at the level of saying the fundamental aspects of these things are under question? Well, I would beg you to tell me what element at any level in science is not under question. Of course you can be skeptical. That's the nature of science. You propose a theory, you test the theory, you get it to a certain level of sigma, you get it to a certain level of certainty. If the certainty is beyond the doubt, then you have a fact. And that's how we've managed to build up over time a level of understanding that has allowed us to have the technology. Now, if you want to go back a step and say, at this point, I question this step, you can do that, but then it is incumbent upon you to demonstrate why the following steps, like the step after that, and 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 that, and that, and that, all need to go crashing down to where we began, because that's never going to work.
Well, you don't have to do that, because if the other things are just inferences of the original thing, disproving the original thing dominoes all the inferences, because they're conditional. Truth of the inferences is conditional on the truth of the original statement.
What
And
if something
metaphysics
isn't
can't be
entirely
tested.
wrong? What if it's only partially wrong? Do you have to throw out everything because a part of it was wrong?
I don't think we have to
in
throw
mathematics,
everything out.
generally, yes.
I'm not
You don't have to
suggesting we
throw
throw
out
everything
anything.
out. I'm suggesting we understand what it is we're even talking about, and there's a level of subtlety we have to go into to understand.
How do you
what
feel
is
about gravity
presupposed in
then?
physics. There's a
How
How
level
do you
of subtlety.
feel about gravity then?
I need to make an observation.
There's a
that I
level
think
of subtlety that is presupposed that you need to go into just to understand what it means to
Does
even
shit,
talk about physics
when I
in the first place.
when I drop a pen, does it go to the ground?
Do you understand that there could be infinitely many different models for gravity? So your assertion is
I
which ones are
do,
likely to be correct?
and I do understand that there could be,
Right.
and there absolutely could be. Many of them have actually been tested over time, many times, found wanting. As a matter of fact, Newton's theory, developed in the 1600s, was tested over time, and it was found wanting. Einstein came up with a solution that maybe was a twist on Newton's appreciation for what gravity was, and it proved to be more accurate. So that when you examine the orbit of Mercury, it seems to work. When you examine the offset of starlight, it seems to work. These were observed things that did not comport with Newton's theory. So yes, it was wrong, but that doesn't mean that Newton's theory is completely out the window, or that somebody else's theory or that even Galileo's stuff was completely wrong in Newton's day. But you can't kick the props out from under all scientific theory and say it's all bullshit. Can you?
Yeah, I can. Why not? Why not?
Look
how many other social norms are getting overturned. Why can't I overturn this social norm?
Oh my fucking word! Really? You know, it's not a social norm. These
No,
are facts
I mean,
of the universe. This is, for Christ's sake, somebody else do this.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
it's
right?
not-
If you're
it's
going to do
unfortunate
that,
because-
like let's propose something which is actually more efficient in that case, right? Rather than just trying to play the role of rather than just trying to be a contrarian.
I don't think anyone's trying to be a contrarian.
I'm not trying to be a contrarian. I have an alternate model, but I
No,
can't
I
get
mean,
into
you're
it.
trying
because
to
if all
say
anyone-
this
if
thing
all
is
anyone's
wrong,
gonna
and it's
do
like,
is
fine.
If all anyone's going to do is swarm me for what I'm saying, then I can't get into my own model. But I do have
No,
another model.
Jen, it's fine. No, Jen, it's fine that something can be wrong, but please, by all means, provide something better. Right?
Well, the point is,
I mean,
metaphysics
I don't
can't be
think
I
any
already,
proven.
scientist.
Also, please
I
show
already
that it's
did
actually
provide something
wrong.
better. I did provide something better. It just doesn't share any
Good.
of the metaphysical
So why aren't
suppositions of
why
the
aren't the
Western
physicists
science.
using it if it's better?
Yeah, I think
I mean,
so-
I think if
Because that
somebody
presupposes
was
that
going to
people
come with
use
something
theories
better
because
than
they're
general
better.
relativity, it would have to explain both general. It would have to explain gravity at the quantum scale. I would imagine is the first thing it's going to have to do, because general relativity hasn't failed any test it's ever been put into ever. And quantum mechanics hasn't really either.
Well,
So,
it does.
If you had something better,
Oh,
I would
please tell
imagine
me.
the physicists would be using it. So I just asked
what
why
does
aren't they?
what do quantum mechanics and general relativity have to do with evolution? We don't have a better model there either, because it's still the backbone of biology, and a lot of biology just doesn't make sense unless what I know about evolution is true, and I only had a biology 101 course. Oh, it must have been
Nothing
the
in
other person who had a
biology makes
PhD,
sense
Jen.
except in the light of evolution.
I
It's a
think people
pretty
miss the
accurate
point of
quote.
the conversation on metaphysics. You can't prove metaphysics. Metaphysics are the presupposition of which
Hey,
science
how
is
about if
based
I
on.
don't care about metaphysics and I actually want to do
Sure,
something?
I
with
mean,
my work?
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I
that's
agree
just
with
like
the
saying you
point.
don't
It's
care
just
about truth, or you
I
don't
just-
care about philosophy, and saying that science necessitates a philosophical
Truth
framework.
is that which
Science
can
does
be
not
demonstrated
exist
to
on its
comport with
own.
reality.
Science
I-
exists
Evolution
within
Well,
a
under the
philosophical
correspondence
framework.
theory
Most
of
other
truth,
sciences
that's what
do.
truth means.
I
Yeah,
just
but
want to.
science does not exist on its own. Science exists within a
nor does
larger framework.
mathematics.
I just
You
want
just-
to
you just
say
wanna
that if
take
I understood
science
things
as a
before I started
given,
working on
Nor-
them, I'd never write a program.
Hey, could
Nor
we
does
give
mathematics,
David,
though,
like,
either,
30
for any
seconds?
or any other field for that matter.
Could we give David like 30 seconds? I kind of want to hear what he's got to say here. I think that could clear some stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, it's largely just a category error because, like, you could do things. There's pragmatics, and you just care what's practical. And we're having a debate about truth, and you say, "Well, I don't care about truth. I just care what's practical." Metaphysics are the presuppositions that can't be proven. Science necessitates everything. Necessitates, like you say, I and we is a presupposition. There may not be an I. There may not be a
So-
we. There's a whole
so-
bunch of presuppositions. Science
So
has to exist.
what about
in a
when we
larger
understand the
framework.
mechanics of, say, evolution? We know how to exploit it. We know how to make it
There's
work.
all presuppositions. Who's
It
we?
Like what?
works. It's
Hold
not
on.
a
Who is
presupposition
we?
if it works.
Who is
Presuppositions.
we?
I think I see
Who
the
is
problem.
we?
I don't think
on.
Who
I
is
don't
we?
think anybody disagrees that there's presuppositions being made. What presuppositions particularly do you disagree with, or you think are unjustified
We
to
didn't
some
even
degree?
clarify what
But
the
there are fewer
presuppositions are. So we're
presuppositions than
talking
you're
about
suggesting.
evolution.
Even in math, there are only a few
Right.
presuppositions.
But the
you
point
use for
is, you're objecting to it on a metaphysical basis, right? Which seems to imply that there's a set of assumptions that the science being used to infer that makes, right?
you're
That's in
making- you're
contention
making-
with your own metaphysical view. So, what exactly is the contention?
Well, there's a whole bunch of contentions. They say to
Okay, well,
debate
let's start
science-
listing them.
To debate science is a debate on philosophy and metaphysics. You're just saying practicality. You only care about what's works.
I
and
agree.
You don't care about truth. So if we're debating,
I agree.
Truth is not a scientific concept. Truth is a philosophical concept. So when you wanna
I
debate
agree.
the truth
That is
of a
technically
scientific
true,
theory,
yes.
you're not debating science. You're debating philosophy.
Sure, I agree. I mean, scientific theory derives truth from a very specific framework, right? I mean, it's not
Which
the
is
only
field of
thing you
philosophy,
can.
not science.
Okay, sure. I mean, most like Phil of Science textbooks will recognize that that science itself is a very particular like rendition of philosophy, right?
Yeah, it has particular
And most
epistemic
people-
frameworks that it uses. Like,
Like,
yeah,
and most
that-
people that
it is acknowledged.
that have taken enough science understand that.
Yeah. So when you
So
wanna-
what's the point?
Well, because we were debating. So I said this debate on evolution was, I'll call ill-defined. It was very large topics, different people
So-
talking a whole bunch of different subjects.
You're trying to shift the goalpost. Okay.
I wasn't
got it.
trying to ship the goal, but I was saying that some form of metaphysical framework that people should discuss to say, okay, we're debating the philosophy of science. We're not actually debating science.
But what if we're debating if evolution happened?
I mean-
which is basically what the debate tonight was.
Well,
Right.
no, I mean evolution on trial. I mean,
I
if you
mean,
said
I think
if you wanted to make that the debate, you could have more narrowly defined it, and even that,
Mhm.
it still needs a philosophical framework.
Let me go back and check something. I'm
sure.
pretty
I mean,
sure
I
we-
think a lot of times, I think a lot of times, like revolutions in science are due to like refinements, like of various philosophical concepts, like that a certain scientific framework uses. Like to use the Newtonian idea, like of gravity versus that of general relativity, you could very easily make a case like that what Newtonian gravity describes, right? In its most basic form is it's comparing like force that acts on a distance, while not particularly caring about like the geometry that's occurring. But
And evolution is a
it turns out, like-
multidisciplinary theory, and each
sure, I'm
subfield of
talking about the
science has-
particular like formulation of gravity, right?
Yeah, but now
like
we're just talking
gravity
physics.
like gravity, like according. Sure,
Yeah,
Right.
Every
right. I'm
scientific
saying
theory,
like
every
the
scientific
gravity,
subfield
like the
has-
physics.
I mean, say if you're just going into random, different scientific theories, every subfield, physics, chemistry, biology, information theory, logic, mathematics, they all have their own philosophical problems. And when you have an interdisciplinary theory like evolution, you combine all of the philosophical problems with each of those subfields. So you want to
So
debate
Philosophical
evolution.
problems.
So
in
does that
science
overturn?
aren't
Does
really
that
relevant
overturn?
to doing
What
it.
I heard, what I heard Jen
point-
say earlier was that
I want-
at the base of that, if the assumptions at the base of all of these things are unsound, then the entire theory is unsound, and everything that flows from that theory is unsound. And the case that I was trying to make in the case that I was trying to make is that where do you begin kicking out the foundations? You want to kick it out right from the get.
No, I mean,
But
Well,
it's
if you just want to
fundamentally
talk about
Saturn
evolution,
still-
if you just want to restrict the conversation to biology, because I actually can,
mean-
I don't know if David can, but I can actually justify my issues with the presuppositions. So here are the problems
Okay.
that I can think of
But-
off the top
I
of my
mean,
head.
I'm
with,
curious.
biology, bottom-up metaphysics, atomism, numerical realism,
Ben, I wanna
material
ask
causality,
a question
genetic
first, if I may.
causality. There's 5.
What?
So-
I
sorry,
wanna
did you
I'm
just say
curious
atavism?
to have.
Of the biologist first, however, because I think there's a statement that has been absolutely wrong that's been made a couple times. And just the biologist, please. Is evolution multidisciplinary?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which discipline?
modern
Not
evolution
really,
is.
not really. I would say not really, but maybe you
Just
could
the
say
biologist,
theology. There is some theology in evolution. So you could say
There
it's
is no
Just
theology.
biologist,
There's
please.
no
I-
theology in
So-
evolution.
sorry, I'm a
I think she meant
paleontologist
No,
slash
what I'm saying is
evolutionary
some
biologist.
theologists.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Girl, I'll shut up.
theology.
I'm sorry. Some theologists talk about evolution. I'm not saying some theologists.
Okay,
Biologist.
it doesn't mean that there is
Science.
theology within the theory of evolution.
Question
That wasn't
about
the one I
whether
was
it was
talking about.
multidisciplinary, and I'm
I
saying
was just
it's not
talking
really
physics,
understood as
chemistry, biology,
multidisciplinary. No,
and
David, I don't know what
information
you're
theory.
talking about.
What is your understanding of multidiscipline?
Yes, usually it
What does that
is.
mean to you?
That's why I mean physics, chemistry, biology, and information theory. They're all disciplines that that evolution
Geology.
necessitates. Yeah, geology. You could probably add a whole
Yes.
bunch more to it.
Yeah,
It's a multidisciplinary theory.
informatics to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, you
Okay,
might claim
yes.
theology also, metaphysics.
I-
But I mean,
Okay,
so even just from a pure
theology,
scientific
the
view,
study of religion. Where does that come in?
was what come in?
Where does
Some
theology,
theologists
the study
talk about
of religion
evolution.
come in?
Some
Well,
theologists talk
theology
about
comes
evolution.
into
That doesn't make evolution. That doesn't mean that evolution incorporates theology.
what does because evolution presupposes
But it doesn't.
consciousness, and it's saying that
No,
consciousness.
what?
No.
No.
No,
What?
Evolution was
Where
going
did
on
that come
before there was
from?
consciousness, my dude. Like,
I-
what are you talking
evolution
about?
occurs without
I-
consciousness
Well,
all the
that's
time.
debatable. That's debatable also, but
No, it's not debatable.
What level of consciousness does E. coli have, or a
if you're a
virus?
if you're
I mean,
a panpsychist,
the-
you could. There's different
Yeah, but
metaphysical frameworks.
Panpsychism is wrong.
If you're a panpsychist, yes, everything.
Yeah, but
Show
that's
me the
wrong.
brain waves of.
Well, if you're a
rock.
panpsychist,
virus.
borderline everything has consciousness.
Yeah, so
No,
that's
everything has
theological. So if
consciousness.
you're rejecting consciousness, if you're saying that you're rejecting
No.
panpsychism,
We're not
Demonstrate
rejecting
that it
consciousness.
exists
We're
so we can
rejecting.
reject it.
Panpsychism.
well, if you're rejecting,
We're not
that consciousness-
rejecting consciousness. We're rejecting the scale at which you identify consciousness to exist.
Yeah, so I'm saying that's a
Yes,
theological.
Demonstrate that it
No, it's not.
exists. Otherwise, I
Panpsychism doesn't
cannot
have to do
reject
with
it.
theology.
It doesn't exist in my
I mean, it's a
framework.
metaphysical disagreement, not
What you
it's
have
at best a metaphysical.
Where
That's
does
a lot different,
consciousness
not
come in?
logical.
Where does consciousness come
Okay.
into? Where does consciousness come into the discussion of
Well,
evolution?
I think it's
Consciousness
an
can be
unjustified
ordered even in
presupposition because
immaterial
he's
objects
assuming
like
God
Because
turned
of
off
san-
evolution, or some
Because
magical
of
entity
because
did,
of
which there's no
panpsychism.
evidence for.
Yeah, just there's
Fine, but
metaphysical
that
presuppositions.
has nothing. It is not required. No supernatural action is required in the process of evolution by natural selection.
Or any
Yes,
physical
because there's
process for that matter.
presuppositions just about material, about atoms, about material chemistry. and
Those processes, those physical processes exist. Yes, they're observable.
yeah,
But
but
it's not that it's not that there's any presupposing.
there are presuppositions. of
The
order and
concept,
purpose.
the kind that evolution
I
is
didn't bring
certainly
this up to
as
argue about
evolution has evolved since Darwin's
I
time.
didn't bring it up to
It's
argue
not.
about
It's
it.
not that. It's not that. You've
If
talked
you
a
wanna
lot.
talk about-
I-
if you want to talk about universal rules, about order, structure, logic, math, and you want to claim that those are aspects of consciousness, and then you have panpsychism, pan-consciousness, that even atoms, immaterial
I haven't
objects
claimed
have
any of that.
consciousness.
I'm talking
Well,
about the,
yes,
the,
but you're
the theory of
rejecting-
Sorry,
evolution.
muted.
If you're
That has
rejecting
nothing
that-
to do with.
I'm not
Okay,
rejecting.
Who is
Duvid,
claiming
I am
that
in
logic-
the field you're talking about. That has nothing to do with it.
Well, that's
Yeah,
your
exactly.
presupposition that has nothing.
it's not.
I am
No,
in
it's
the
not.
field.
Well, if you were in the field, you would know that there's some theorists that do think it has something to do with it.
No,
No,
there's not.
no, it does
No.
There
not.
are some philosophers who
I think the
do.
sense in which we're using the word forest is very, very different.
No, there's physicists who are panpsychists and think that in order to explain how the atom works, you
Like
need
who?
That's
psychism.
fine, but
I'm
it's not.
sure
But
there's
there are
physicists
others
that are
that
homeopathists
don't.
this as well. What does that have to do with it?
There are others
Okay.
that don't.
But
I
we're
mean,
just
it's
saying
not, it is
evolution-
not a fundamental requirement of either particle physics or
say it was. I
evolutionary
just said-
biology.
I said
that something
multidisciplinary.
supernatural must be at
This is a
work.
pointless
That's
argument.
not true.
This is a
I'm
pointless
also
I
pretty
agree.
sure
It is
Deepak
pointless
Chopra
because
is
you
not a
haven't
physicist.
demonstrated anything.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I don't even know what you're trying to make. I claimed that evolution's multidisciplinary, and from my perception, I consider theology one of those disciplines. And you say, well, you don't. Fine. We don't have to argue over that.
Biology does not.
Let's just
You're
get past the
stating it
point
like-
and
oh,
see
because
what
your
else
biology-
exactly
We
is
can
under
move on.
contention.
We can move on. Granted your point. Theology is involved, although obviously not for the biologists on the panel. It's
Yeah, because biology.
Not to this particular group.
Could I change the topic real quick?
Information theory.
Yes, please do.
So I'm curious about Sal. Like, do you think he believes in creationism because of the evidence, or he needs meaning and it's post hoc rationalization? Where do you guys think he's coming from?
I think he
I'm not
believes
going to
that-
publicly discuss my
God only
suppositions about
knows.
why Sal holds to young Earth creationism, but I do have suppositions about why he
I
holds
think
to
he
young Earth
believes in it
creationism.
because he's an engineer, and engineers create things.
I mean, Lord only knows.
I also think he's devoted to a particular ideology, and he is
A Christian. He said he's a Christian.
He's holding to some pretty firm beliefs that he has, and
He said
again,
Christianity. We spoke with him. He said he's a Christian.
yes,
Yeah,
he is a
we
Christian.
know that.
He's a very devout Christian. He's
believes in
absolutely a
prayer.
Christian.
He believes in the soul. He believes in the resurrection. If
Yeah.
you're going to say that
All of those
informs his
things that
views
didn't
on
happen and don't
science,
exist.
he claims that
He's
he claims
also
that it's just true.
he's also a very particular kind of Christian. So there's that
I mean,
too.
you want to psychoanalyze him, it may not be worthwhile to say if you want
It's
to
not
give
a,
him
it's not a question of it's
he
not a
just
question of
analyzed the evidence, and
psychoanalysis.
this is his analysis of the evidence and his search for truth.
It's a very poor analysis at that.
And,
Let's
and
call
his
it that,
search for
yes.
truth- his
Let's
search for-
not-
his- his
let's not
search-
make
his
personal
search for
insults.
truth leads him. His search for truth and his beliefs lead him in a certain direction that is anathema to the well-being of many people. To be honest,
Yeah, but any system could
Yeah,
be said
it
like
is.
that.
No.
You make the same claim about evolution of
No.
any system.
no.
Which okay, your system doesn't lead to
Well,
the harm
now
of
back to
anybody.
the topic.
His system leads to the harm of people, but your system doesn't lead to the harm of anybody.
That would be correct. What harm does evolution as an idea in human society for how we can explain the morphologic
Yep,
change
now we're down
over
this rabbit
geological
hole.
time?
Yeah, I mean, it's not worth
somehow
I don't need to debate
There
account
we go.
for why
if
the
you just want
U.S.
to
has
grant
such a
Sal
high
the
prison
benefit of the
population.
doubt-
I can't even finish the fucking question. Holy shit!
because it's not worth getting down. The conversation's already diverted enough. I just said I don't see any reason not to extend Sal the benefit of the doubt that he's just honestly going on a search for truth.
Nobody's
Well,
denying that.
yeah,
We're just
well,
saying
I-
that it's
you
know,
true.
I'll extend him the benefit.
We interrupt
I'll extend him
everybody.
the benefit of the doubt the same way that he extended the hand of friendship to his long associate Rebecca Davis, and basically disowned her for saying that queer people were legitimate children of God.
And on
Yeah,
that
Sal did
note,
not look good
we
in the
have
discussion. Sorry,
15 more minutes. So the panel, if you have a burning desire question or a point that you want to get out to each other right now, we have the next 15 minutes to do so. But you will also get an outro.
I do.
So,
Leo, did you miss me? Leo.
I mean, is there something I'm supposed to understand in that statement that I'm not understanding?
I think we last saw each other at DebateCon outside.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
You remember me?
Only you can
You don't
light
remember me.
wildfires.
Leo
Oh, I
don't remember
you.
me. My feelings
Yeah, I
are
do.
hurt.
Yeah,
Nah, I'm just
wildfires galore.
Yeah, there you go.
Burning trees, I tell you what.
We okay to talk about stuff like that on here?
Oh yeah, Amy doesn't care.
Oh
I've asked
yeah.
Amy. She's like, no,
Well,
I
As
don't.
maybe you
long
guys
as the
can get a room.
TOS gods are good, I am
Yep.
good with anything.
You'll love this. I'll
You're
tell it
under
real quick,
arrest.
Amy.
We could go to Stephanie's point related to evolution. One of the biggest criticisms of evolution is the derivation of ethics and morals, even to say, well, why is death
Ethics
bad?
and morals don't
Why
come
is
from evolution,
suffering
though.
bad?
Evolution isn't designed to explain
how
ethics
do you
and morals.
derive that death and suffering is bad?
Well, because we don't like
I think that's more of a philosophical issue than it is one
much
that deals
more
with
of a-
evolution.
Yeah, but that's
I don't
certainly not
understand
a-
why
it's-
people
it's
think
certainly
that
not
ethics and
a, it's
morality
certainly
comes
not a
from
topic for
evolution.
science. It's a topic for psychology and perhaps philosophy.
I get Dina.
Yeah, but how does evolution inform that, and what metaphysical
It doesn't.
presuppositions does
It
evolution
doesn't.
make?
in a
It
direct way.
doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Except insofar as it informs. We, insofar as we, as consciousness has emerged in this form that we inhabit, we're able to question those things. We're able to observe, oh, this person was here, now this person is dead and gone. And so we have to make those processes and come to terms with those things in our own way. Those are matters of philosophy, those are matters of theology, those are matters of the gods we invent to explain these things. And perhaps there's an evolutionary perhaps there's an evolutionary component there, but evolution itself is not concerned with any of that. It's got nothing to do with that. How we got here, it has to do with how we got here, not
Evolution has a lot to do with death and suffering. I mean, there's a lot in evolution about death and suffering.
I do
because
think
evolution necessitates death. If there wasn't, you couldn't have evolution without death.
Yeah, but evolution says nothing about whether death is right or wrong, or good or bad.
No, there's no value judgment there. It's part of the process. Yes, death is a natural process.
But you can
it's a natural process. That's what natural selection means.
Yeah, but that's why evolution necessitates.
Dovid is making a mistake, however.
Of valueless
Evolution
death.
does not necessitate death. Evolution
No, it
only
doesn't. I mean,
requires that the
thermodynamics.
Species
For
changes
evolution to work
in
you
the
need a
next
morally
generation.
neutral
No one needs to
process of
die.
birth and death. So if you have a philosophical
No, you
system
don't.
that has a moral system that judges whether
So
this
you're
death
making a
is good or
category error.
bad, that could conflict
No.
with evolutionary
Duvin?
understanding
No.
about death.
Category
Duvin?
error.
Sorry, I just
Well-
realized I've been calling you Duvin. Your name's Duvid. Does my car mechanic, does he need to know how to run a farm?
In order to
be a
be your car mechanic?
In order to fix my car, does he need to know how to run a farm?
I don't know. You giving me like a series of questions. If you have
The
a point,
answer
might
is
as well
no.
make it.
They are different jobs for different things. Evolution does not deal with issues of morality.
I think there is a slightly
But there is-
related
it does,
topic.
'cause evolution necessitates morally neutral death.
Well, there's
The
the
evolution
No, it doesn't.
necessitates a
Necessitates
system
the
where it
suspension
doesn't
of
matter.
processes.
No, it doesn't. All it
But whether that
requires is for
suspension
the
of
next
processes-
generation to change from the previous generation. Death is more a process that comes in because of other natural processes.
I do
If
think there's a
anything, if
slightly
anything else,
related-
death is more of a consequence of thermodynamics rather than it is of evolution.
I
Yeah,
think there is something
you're trying to
slightly
jump
related.
the is-ought gap from the is to the ought, and it's not going to work. Hume talked about this a bit.
That's true too.
And you're also trying to
Philosophically,
make a really bad Kent Hovind talking point sound smarter than it is.
My favorite formulation of the problem of evil is the one that points to the gratuitous natural suffering involved in evolution.
Problems of evil don't include suffering. They include evil. Suffering isn't necessarily evil. Evil is, by definition, evil.
Always
Also,
go
And I
to
think a
the
better
tautology.
formulation is the logical argument from evil, which draws a logical contradiction between the existence of an all-powerful, morally perfect God and the occurrence of any events that same being thinks ought not to occur, yet permits anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, looking at the history of evolution and all the death and natural suffering, like saying that happened and that the Christian God exists and all of that stuff. I think that's, to
Yeah,
me,
it's a
one of
very
the
good point to make.
strongest formulations of the problem of evil. I do think it's kind of related to what Duvid was saying. Like
why would a God create death in the first place? Something
Yeah,
like that.
that kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
stuff.
very
About
good
within the
question.
system of evolution, and just how do you derive things like that suffering is better to be limited, or even that death is
So-
something negative.
We don't use evolution
this
to
is
determine
something
those.
This is something I think I can answer. Duvid, are you asking how humans get their how humans got their morality?
Oh.
If they just evolved, is that what you're asking?
It's going to come back to this larger philosophical, metaphysical framing of evolution. What metaphysical postulates are necessary for evolution, and does that will they contradict
without going
with-
into metaphysics? Like, common human morality can
Well,
be
because
very
morality is
easily
part of
explained
metaphysics.
by evolutionary theory.
Morality is kind of
Like,
its own
morality is
humans
part of
are
philosophy, not science.
What I'm saying is humans are a social species, thus most humans will work for the benefit of
Cooperatively.
themselves and those they care about. That forms
may
the
or may not be
basis
accurate.
for most human morality systems. It is a pretty consistent thing we see across humans.
Where are you getting this most
So
from? We say, well, most humans will do in their own self-interest, including making other people
That's
suffer.
not what he said.
The,
That's not
you
at
just
all
said
what he
interest
said.
You just
of
said this most
themselves
statement
and
out of
those they
nowhere
care about.
that in likelihood contradicts evolution, this most statement. So it's like,
No.
well, no, actually most
No,
people are
the
going to operate in their
majority-
own self-interest, regardless of the suffering of other
That's-
people.
God, that's just so not true. I don't even know where to start.
That's a very interesting psychological statement, but I mean,
humans are an
most-
intercooperative species. Humans naturally tend to cooperate and work with one another. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't ever any conflict at all or any dumb statement like that. A lot of the conflicts that have arisen in human society, I would argue, come down to resource distribution to some extent or another,
But
or
it's not
control
science,
over
that's
the
your
group
worldview.
in some sense
You're
or
not
another.
saying something
So,
scientific. You're saying
I
your
haven't
worldview.
finished what
Oh
I'm
my
saying, so
God.
you don't really know what I'm saying because I haven't finished it.
But you're postulating things. You're saying like they're science, but they're not science.
No, everything I'm saying, almost any anthropologist I went to would be like, yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah,
I know, because I've
Leo
asked
was talking
them.
about the general trends of humanity. Like, this is something we can see.
It's
And
something
like
you can
run
measure.
polls.
It's something you could measure. You say it's not something. I mean, say see, you could measure, and you could derive theories of anthropology or human nature, and it's some form of social science. It's not really a science.
Oh no, social sciences are a hard science. I'm probably the only one in here that's going to agree.
Holy
with
crap.
that, but they are.
It depends on what part of it you're talking about. I agree and disagree with that statement. Just point being, like, humans are a social
there's rigorous
species, and the majority of
statistical
humans
method
will
in
work for
place.
the betterment of themselves and the people they care about. Most people care about their siblings and their parents and their children and their friends. Even if they don't care about everyone else, they'll
We give
often
a
do
statement
what they
like most
can to
people
help
would kill
others
if they had
that
to.
they care about.
We give a statement like most people would kill if they had to. Most
If
people, in
they
order
had
to protect themselves or their family, would kill.
That has
If they had
Okay.
to.
We
if
just
they
accept
had to. I'm talking about the
I mean, if they
general
have
trend
to,
of what
yes,
most
but
of
that's
them
far
will
from an
do.
ordinary circumstance.
Exactly.
Well, no. Well, I mean, you say
I mean,
that, but
in
if
what
the
circumstance,
situation
like,
was
are the majority of
abnormal-
events requiring them to kill?
But that's based on environment. So if humans were in an
That's
environment
also correct.
where it was advantageous to kill, most people would kill. It's based on environmental circumstance. So currently we may be in an environment where killing is not advantageous, but
Sure.
should we be in an environment where killing was advantageous, most humans would kill.
I think most environments killing is not advantageous, and that's why it's not really seen in
But we don't
humans
control
at a
the
high
environment.
level. I
We
remind
react
you
to
to
the
say that
environment.
we control
Well,
the
humans
environment.
do to a degree, but humans
Actually,
do
yeah,
react
Doc
to
is
the
correct.
environment.
They've
They do.
studied
I
the
agree with you, Duvid. I am just talking about like the base, like the bottom level, bottom rung thing that is seen across most human cultures, a general trend. And
fitness
from
benefit of
those
altruism.
ideals, we can see most of modern morality being derived. That's all I'm saying. You can bring up any specific circumstances, and I agree, specific circumstances will lead to different results. I'm just talking about the
morality is
base.
a product of mind, not a product of reality.
What?
Reality is
Morality is
Your
the
morality
category
can
of
be
mind.
shaped by your
How is
environment.
the environment not a realistic circumstance?
Morality is a
What?
category of mind, not a category of material reality. It's a
Incorrect.
category of mind.
our
Yeah, which
perception of
which is why
reality
we
is
were
shaped by
all
our mind.
which is why we were all really confused when you asked us how does like evolution explain morality. Like you just answered, because when we talk about science
Yeah.
and describing the
Who's the
world and
we?
how it works,
Who's the
what we're
we?
doing, what
Who's
we're
the we?
doing, what we're
Who's the
doing,
we?
everybody in the fucking room, what we're doing is describing what is the case.
I was out
And
of the
no
room at the
matter how
time, but
deeply
hey.
you study what is the case, you're never going to derive anything about what ought to be the case. Humans do that with their
You're getting to this
intention.
improperly defined we, where you're claiming there's like, which is also a category
When
of
I said
mind.
we, I was talking about all the people in the room. Stephanie, myself, Doc Dino, Immutable, that were questioning your question that you asked about evolution and morality. You going to sit here and act like we did not question that?
Well, so we have a difference in categories of mind where you say you and maybe a handful of people in this room have an agreed upon category of
Which
mind.
is where the pronoun we would be appropriate, is when there's more than
Yes.
just myself, as there was.
And we're the
We
people
obviously
you're talking
no
to
no
as well.
one
I
none
wish
of
I
it
had
none
more
of us
Stephanie,
here,
who's
including
we?
Leo. None of us here can speak to anybody outside.
I'm
of the
pretty sure
room.
a toddler understands
I
that we can be understood to mean more than just one person.
Yeah.
All right, let's not have
I
a
think-
grammar debate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
but
shit.
it's based on this
this
concept of
is getting
category of
to
mind.
that silly point.
That's okay
No,
because
I'm not trying
we
to,
are
but dude, I
going
literally
to-
asked who is we.
I'm going to answer that in a different way because the new version, not tied to what we were just talking about, the new we is we are going to outros because, and we.
But
are
again, who's
going
we?
to- the
Those of us
opposite.
here.
The opposite of we are my brain just went confuzzled. We are
It's the way
going
it
in
goes.
the opposite order that we joined.
Hey, Amy, what's
Feel
your metaphysics
free.
of mind?
There we go. Did it again.
My metaphysics of mime is not as
Mind.
good. I know.
M-I-N-D, mind,
I know.
like your mind. Because that might explain why you're forgetting things and stuff. If you just understood the metaphysics of your mind, it would all make sense to you. It'd be so
Maybe
clear.
your presuppositions were invalid.
Yeah.
There we go. See?
But with that,
Yeah.
we are going to head into it. We have been midnight ranting on evolution on trial. I am
yeah.
sending so much love. This has been our fantastic panel. And now let's see them one more time.
Like that.
Woo! What is up, Shane? We have been midnight ranting, evolution on trial. I hope you had fun. And as I will ask everyone, do you have anything going on in the interwebs? And what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, just a quick funny story. I'm Shane, Anathema. I run the Modern Day Debate Discord with a couple other lovely people. Been hanging around MDD since 2,000 members, just watching it grow, loving it. Went out to DebateCon. James was kind enough to fly me out there and put me in a hotel for a few days. Had a great time, met some wonderful people.
Hell yeah.
I'm a licensed cannabis farmer, so I found out there's going to be a few potheads there. And even though I haven't smoked in a year now, I decided I'm gonna roll a bunch of joints up and fly them 1,000 miles and be the pot hero. So
Yo,
did
bro,
that.
hook me up, please.
Smokey the Beared it. Hung out with Leo some. He's a great kid. I really like you, Leo. I think you're going places, man. And hopefully I'll see you at the next one, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
with
hope
that,
I'm at the next one.
if you guys love MDD, come on over to the Discord. We're always 24/7. We're open, and there's always debates happening, and everybody's more than welcome.
That's right. I keep on saying it. If we don't have an after show here, there's often an after show on the MVD Discord, you guys, and there's debates just happening on over there. So you should check it out.
If we're not doing an after show, it's just a never-ending after show. So,
and check out DebateCon, all of those things.
Thanks for having me on.
Shane, thank you so much for coming on, and keep on coming on.
Will do.
And all right, Immutable, we have been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. We have been having fun, and what do you got going on in the interwebs, and what are your final thoughts?
Nothing been going on too much in the interwebs lately. I mean, I do think the debate was cordial. It was nice. It was interesting. It's interesting to kind of see the interplay between abiogenesis and evolution, but also to kind of see how, like, to Sal's point, and kind of what seemed to be the central theme of discussion when I was listening to it, was how, there's revisions in how we should formulate evolution to kind of better grasp this notion of fitness in a way that's like more applicable to organisms, which is fine. I mean, that's how our understanding of different concepts, how evolution develops, and to a certain extent that's philosophical. But otherwise, I think the debate went well, and yeah, glad to be here.
Woo-hoo. Thank you so very much, Immutable. I agree with you, and it was a fun debate. And please keep on coming on.
It's good to see you, Immutable. It's been a while.
Yeah, been a hot minute.
Since I said I annoy Rachel so much with that joke. Anyway, also check out right before we go to, it's going to be our mid headliner, because I feel like I should give her just due, because she's one of the interlocutors inspiring of tonight's debate. Before I send her over into your lovely screens, please show the Modern Day Debate Discord right down there on the chat and in the screens. But okay, we are going to bring up Jen. We have been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. We have been having fun. I thought it was a fantastic debate. I want to thank you for coming on here and having the debate. And what do you got going on in the interwebs, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, thanks for having me, Amy. It's always great to come by the channel. Thanks also to James, all the other panelists for sharing their views and giving me a chance to continue the debate after the debate. I've been working, I haven't been streaming as much because I've been writing a lot and using ChatGPT to kind of turn my incredibly uncompelling writing into something semi-palatable. So I was really happy to get a chance to talk about my theory of evolution on stream today. Anyone who's interested can check out my channel for about the last 5 or so minutes of that last stream on my channel. I explained just a basic sort of run through of my model. It's pretty complicated, but once you understand how the conditions come into being, that they always come into being the same way, and you get a really nice short form. So yeah, that's pretty much the short form of the model, and from that you can drive the whole thing if you know it well enough. So hopefully that sparks some interest, and thanks for having me. We'll see you next time.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Jen, and you should all be checking out her channel. She just threw a after show as well that I saw was having a lot of fun going on there. And yes, thank you, and keep on coming on. And all right, I am sending a quick. I can't help it just because I saw it. Someone was, I think it was my friend Shane was just saying that he was for very pro cannabis. I tried to drink a single drink over my birthday. It was my birthday recently in the past week, and I tried to be really trendy by having a Long Island iced tea. And I'm like, it's my birthday. I can handle that, ladies and gentlemen. One
You know what you
drink.
should have had?
What was
some
that?
Whiskey. Should have had some whiskey, but without the E.
My sister-in-law had an amaretto sour. I should have just had an amaretto sour. Because I like girly Philly drinks. I don't like anything that really tastes bad.
So you don't like beer? I mean, beer doesn't taste bad, but
Well, it's like
it's
beer,
not great.
but like if you shove like a fruit
Beer is
into it or
delicious.
like something, yeah, it's an orange beer.
if you think beer is gross,
But-
stop drinking fucking domestic shit and have an actual craft beer.
I've
That's
tried.
still
None-
technically
I haven't
domestic.
found any good.
And make sure it's not an IPA. That's the other thing. Unless you like IPAs.
But yes, whatever. We all have our lovely vice, but I'll keep on saying it. It should be legalized. Eventually, it will be. Cannabis will be all throughout the federal lands. And all right, November 27th. I just eat turkey on my birthday. But enough about me. I could blab enough about me forever. But let's get David on here. He was kind enough to be here. David, we have been midnight ranting on evolution on trial. I hope you had a fun time. Where are you on the interwebs, and what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm Duvid with 4 O's, just like the Yiddish pronunciation of David. And I stream Sunday nights on my channel. I occasionally do other streams and debates. Amy's been on my channel talking about consciousness. Jennifer's a regular. We used to stream Week in Review every Sunday night for a few years until she had a schedule change. And so now I'm doing Week in Review solo. I like metaphysics, philosophy of science, spirituality. Evolution is one of my favorite topics. So I like the debate tonight, although I thought evolution is such a big topic. If it could have been a little bit more structured, where it was more clear, like what topics, what's part of it, and then the subtopics could have flowed more smoother. But general good work. Always appreciate your streaming, Amy. Everyone who shared, and wants to talk more, you could come Sunday night on Week in Review. So have a great night, everybody, and keep the debates and open conversations going.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much. Go check out his channel. He has lots of great intellectual conversations, just like I can think you find over at Jen's. And with that, David, thank you so very much for coming on, and please keep on coming on. And all right, we actually had a fantastic showing for our panel. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Welcome is up, Doc Dino. We have been midnight ranting on evolution on trial. Lovely having you. What you got going on the interwebs, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, I think I'll start with the final thoughts first. Really quick, since everyone's sharing drinks they like, I got this fun one I learned from my grandpa called a Tootsie Pop. Ever heard of it?
No.
Well,
I
it's
have
it's orange juice and cream de cacao. Mix them together, and it tastes just like those little
Okay.
Tootsie Roll candies. It's weird,
It
but
doesn't
it
sound too bad.
works.
Sounds like a
It
very easy
doesn't
way to
sound
get
bad.
get.
Fucked up.
Oh,
Yeah, it
it's
sounds like a
fantastic.
easy way to get hammered very, very quickly.
No.
I mean, that's my style.
Immutable.
The
Say
other one
fucked
is cherry Coke. It's amaretto and Diet Coke. Tastes like a cherry Coke.
Does it have to be
You're one of
diet?
those people.
I prefer diet.
Oh, you.
Eh.
I can't do aspartame. I
Eh.
think it's my autism.
I don't know. It's an
I
acquired
taste- I
taste, but
taste
once
it
you
and I
get
just-
once you get used to it, you get used to it.
I have never gotten used to it. I don't even like the zero sugar soda. They're just nasty. What am I supposed to say? It's just nasty.
I don't know. I like them very
I
much,
can stand
especially
it.
since they're 0 calorie.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm
Yeah,
kind of a recovering fat kid, so
Oh. Then
yeah,
I'm not
used to
gonna.
diet drinks.
Yeah,
I'm
in the
really
same boat.
glad you said that because I just about made a joke. It's not really a fat joke, but it was from Gabriel Iglesias. I drink Diet Coke so I can eat regular cake.
It's fine. I'm thick-skinned. For the debate topic itself, once again, fun discussion, but like maybe just a personal thing. If you're gonna debate a topic, I feel you should debate the evidence for/against the topic rather than the meta narrative behind it. Just maybe just my brain. Other than that, I'm working on a review for Walking with Dinosaurs, so that'll be fun eventually. Going through my third complete rewrite. And that's me. Have a good one, everybody.
Hey, sometimes you need to keep on writing it over and over until it's right. But thank you so much, Doc Dino, for coming on. Lovely having you as always, and please keep on coming on. And all right, we have, speaking of DebateCon, and someone who just has many fantastic debates himself, Leo Felius. We have been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on trial. It has been fun. What do you got going on in the interwebs, and what are your final thoughts?
So hopefully this week I can start getting the videos from DebateCon, my debates up on my own channel. With respect, I'm not really going to talk about my thoughts. That's not what I'm here for. What I saw of the debate, I thought that it was relatively cordial. Sal kind of did his PowerPoint slide thing. So I had a lot of good things to say. Of course, he's a PhD biochemist. I would expect him to have some understanding of this stuff. Amy did well. Jen was, Jen. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Leo is Leo. I didn't watch much of the debate, unfortunately, because I was at a buddy's house and it was over by the time I got home. But another thing that I would like to mention, just about a section of the discussion we've had here tonight, metaphysics is a very deep subject, and I would say that metaphysics is not an easy subject. There's a lot to wade through, from ontology to modality to mereology. There's a lot there, and a lot of it is not intuitive. I think, for me personally, and this is obviously a bias, I prefer metaphysics as an area of study within philosophy. I think it's probably one of the most important areas of philosophy, and I would say that's because it has such a strong relation to specifically the natural sciences and the fundamental sciences like physics, most importantly. But I think all too often people get caught up in one of two traps. And that is that, well, philosophy is fundamental to everything. You can't escape philosophy ever. Or they might say it about specifically metaphysics or something like that. And then there's people that say, oh, well, philosophy is dumb and doesn't do anything for us. Like, it's not important and we don't need to talk about it, which I also think is misled. And I think that the latter is one of the reasons why so many scientists kind of have a sort of anti-philosophical view which I don't think is healthy to understanding science and doing science. But I think that people need to be careful when wading through these subjects and making sure that they don't get caught up in idealistic camps, because I think that happens a lot. I think that people need to spend a lot more time with respect to any academic field, looking at what the experts are saying, and not just any particular group of experts, but what the consensus of the relevant experts is saying. Because regardless of what people think, that is important. Consensus is a part of science. It's how we can figure out, okay, what is probably the most accurate. Well, let's look at the data, let's look at the people that work in the field and what they have to say about it. And you'll find, for the most part, that most analytic metaphysicians don't make some of the rather, I would describe, wild, brash, or even relatively silly claims that may have been made here tonight. And I just wanted to be open about that, because metaphysics is an area where I think a lot of people abuse. I'm not saying necessarily that anybody here has done it. I might have done it a little bit because I love to abuse metaphysics. It's dirty girl. Anyway,
Oh my.
so I just wanted to clarify that, because I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people get turned away from like metaphysics specifically when we talk philosophy, is because it is difficult. It is a difficult field. There's a lot there, and it is frequently abused. And I'll stop there because I'm starting to fucking ramble.
Thank you so very much, Leo. Please go check him out on MDD, on here on Debate Me Brah, and of course on his channel at Leophilius. Thank
you guys
you,
just
Leo.
witnessed a Leo set.
I can tell. I can tell.
And please keep on coming on. And
Coming on what? Huh?
oh my!
No,
I
continue.
always say, just as long as it's not my sheets, we're doing good. And Ben,
Oh
we
my.
have been, oh my, we have been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. I hope you had fun. What do you got going on in the interwebs, and what are your final thoughts?
I have a GitHub page, but it's probably not of interest to anyone here.
That's false.
And then, as you can tell by the icon, I probably don't have a lot going on the interwebs. Good to join you all for Metaphysics on Trial. Interesting discussion. Debate was nice. It was cordial. Not often I get to discuss these topics, so I'm here for it. It was fun. Thanks for having me on. Hope you all have a good night.
Thank you so very much, Ben. It was lovely having you on to be part of the discussion, and keep on coming on. And all right, we only have a few more before we head. I normally have James W. land the plane. I'm not sure if I'm very good at landing or parallel parking. Nonetheless, Stephanie.
You can do it. You can do this. You can do
Plane's
this.
coming in hot, no pressure.
Coming in hot, but that's all right. I have confidence. You know, the ongoing discussion is fascinating to me, because it was only in 2.5 years it'll be the anniversary of the sailing of the Beagle from Plymouth, England, to survey South America. And on that boat, there was a gentleman by the name of Charles Darwin who wrote a little book called The Voyage of the Beagle that was published in 1839. So we're coming up on 200 years of debates on evolution. And in those 200 years, we've the notion that that natural selection has led to the diversity of life on Earth, has explained many biological processes, given us insight into others that have led to discoveries, has even if the initial guesses weren't quite accurate, more guesses have been made. And for me, it's really a little bit discouraging to see people trying to kick it out from at the fundamental assumptions are wrong because God or because whatever. It seems like it's antithetical to the process of trying to acquire knowledge that we've tried to do over the course of a couple of hundred years, nearly. And I had, like Amy, I had a birthday this past week. It was my 70th. So like the Voyage of the Beagle was, or the publication of the book was only 130 years now. Now that's 2 of my lifetimes. And I would hate to see. We've all heard of the Bronze Age collapse. We've all heard of the Dark Ages. We've all heard of a whole bunch of this stuff. I would hate to see that within half my lifetime, people have managed to cut the legs out from under the push towards moving the project of human progress and knowledge further. That worries me tremendously. I'm Stephanie Helms. I have a channel. It's Steffi Cath. It's a tiny little thing tucked away at Steffi Cath on the interwebs. And if you're diligent, you can find it. And I talk about stuff like this and a whole bunch of other crap from time to time. And I laugh a lot. And I'm a sailmaker. And I sew a lot. And I hurt. And I'm now 70 years old, or 69 years and 3 days. So there you go. That me.
Woohoo! And all right, so thank you very, very much, Stephanie. I'm going to keep on saying it. You can actually find, as modest as she is being, you can find Stephanie all over the internet. You should be checking out her content. You should be checking her out as she does so marvelously, taking calls throughout the week. And we are going to, I think, is our headliner. And please keep on coming on. Oh, my cat is scratching.
Oh no, screeches.
Give me 1 second as I let the cats in and out, and my brain.
The pussy needs
we now
attention.
have get to Sinister. I also have to press buttons. Also, good night, Jen. Sending so much love to Jen. It was a fantastic debate. It was fun, and you can all catch that debate in the chat, or not the chat, the description. Well, in the chat, but in the description, the actual debate if you have missed it. But enough of my blabbing again. Sinister, we have been Midnight Ranting on Evolution on Trial. It has been lovely having you on. And what you got going on, and what are your final thoughts?
I am the Sinister Porpoise. When you think of Sinister Porpoises, think of the Sinister Porpoise. And if there's one thing I am really glad about this particular stream tonight, it's that my hair wasn't as frizzy as usual. However, there were some... I think there was a lot of talking over Jen that didn't need to happen, especially when I wanted her to explain her position. Because I think there was an education level difference where some people didn't quite understand what Jen was saying, and I didn't necessarily understand it either, but I got that she wasn't saying the same thing that people thought she was saying. As for David, I think people did understand what he was saying, because even I could follow it without much of a background in philosophy, and the points I could follow, David, you were just absolutely wrong. I would suggest probably not borrowing Kent Hovind talking points and trying to make them sound smarter, because that's what I caught when I caught it.
Boy.
But, and also don't try to turn the debate into something it's not. No one really wanted to debate metaphysics. Yes, you're correct that in order to do science and math, you have to have certain presuppositions. Like when I write code, I assume that the compiler, or I presuppose the compiler is going to correctly translate my code into machine code. I don't presuppose that it's going to run the first time because no sane programmer does that. But
Yeah, I know that all too well.
remember, everyone, be excellent to each other, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Woo! Thank you so very much, Sinister. It was lovely having you on. As always, it was lovely listening to your questions in the debate. I was happy to have you there. And please keep on coming on. And all right, this is also a long overdue. I saw Pat in here a while ago, and I wanted to show his comment, but it was like going back and forth. And but I wanted to say hi to him as well. So what was up, Pat? If you're still watching, sending so much love to Pat Lowinger, sending love to Beamsy. I see you in chat, sending so much love, as well as the love on Twitch. Woohoo! Mark Reed, you should all be checking out all of the fantastic content that Mark Reed has been doing. He was saying hi, hey, hey, hey. And so some very quick love as we just land this plane. From early on, another love from It's Rubrics. Early on, sending love from Shane, telling me I'm sending that love, that he's the best back, and he also gifted a membership out there that was so nice. Of course, there was also $1. I saw this come in. Thank you so much, Robin, for the love and the support. And with that, I want to thank you all. Actually, I haven't done it the entire time. I want to be silly, even though it's like 2 a.m. It's a super chat, so I get to go All right, I'm sending what's up to Subaru and everyone, and Skyworks. I'm sending love to everybody. In fact, say goodbye at the end, and I will try to show it up at the end of the credits. But thank you for coming on this episode of Midnight Ranting Evolution on Trial, where we had a modern day debate after party for the Dr. Garrett and Amy versus Sal and Jen on Evolution on Trial. Dun dun dun. Where we had some, a good time, billions of years in the making. I do want to thank. Actually, I think I'm one less, or find it. The glove. It's gonna fit. There we go. I do want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our guests. If Peter was here, I'd hear the dings, dings, dings. Go check out. Gonna go for it, as well as everyone he produces, Aaron Ra and Atheist Jr. and so many fantastic people. But I want to thank James W. along with all of our fantastic full house panel of guests. I want to thank Justin and Sinister and Stephanie and Ben and Leophilius and Dino and David and Jen and Immutable and Shane. Woo! Thank you to all of you, but also thank you to the people in chat, our awesome mods who make this stream so great, and the MDD mods and the MDD community, and everyone at the Skeptic and Ranting community, and lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. Please don't forget, I know it, I hear it in my sleep, follow, subscribe, all of that. And then if you really want to hear more updates and see it in your feed, you hit that bell icon to all, and YouTube says, fine, I'll send you their content. And so you can see our premieres. We've been loading up a bunch of new. We want to start making clips. I think that's the next incoming thing. And see our live streams. Sending so much to everyone in the live chat. Or hey, why not leave a comment after the video is done, after the show? Though I think I'm going to bed. I taught a class today too, which was fascinating.
On a Saturday, no less.
On a Saturday, exactly. But this was their week 9 class. Like, it's the week before their final projects are due, so I had to at least be there for them. But
no same person becomes a teacher.
That's probably true.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's worth it.
If I'm
It's
going
worth
to
it,
teach, I'll
though.
deal with college kids.
Okay. Great job. Have a great night.
So
Thanks
true.
for being
Yes. There's so much rigmarole. But I'm sending love. Thank you so much for being here. And please go check out Dova's channel. Go check out everyone's channel. Well, I'm still going to send the link of the Skeptic and Ranting Discord as well. Where is the blada? Ha-da-da.
The blada is right over there.
It's over here, over there.
Yeah, it's over there.
I think I edited it out of the.
Look harder. Look harder.
Please go check out the link with me doing a tap dance. Here we go. You know what? I'm gonna go to another video. And
Blada, it's right next to it.
listen, I love a good, just hot heaping of blada. I found it. It took me a little while. There we go.
Why wouldn't
Discord. Go check out our Discord and have some debating fun. And lastly, if you'd like us to help make even more content, we offer some perks like joining our evolving badge system, which triggers fundamentalist creationists, because if they say something can't evolve, but then there's this thing that can evolve. Hey, it's on topic.
There we go.
You do it you do it long enough and it becomes relevant again, laies and gentlemen.
It
It's
came
like
from the
skinny
primordial
jeans.
soup.
Get stewed in it.
Yeah.
No, they always try and make that sound terrible, but if you're into soup, that primordial
Oh,
soup is
you
right
came
there.
from soup. It's like, wow, okay, that's a
That good
Great
old fashioned
amount of
medicated
gas.
goo. Highly recommended.
But are
What
you
the-
at the soup store?
No
Yeah.
soup for you. But the final thing is to support us the best way. Cut through all the red tape. That probably isn't that bad idea. Honestly, if you spread information and not misinformation, YouTube doesn't get a. This should be the point in the video where I'm like, YouTube is holding me down. They just block everything. But no, they allow
Yeah,
all our
stick it to
videos.
the
They
man
promote
every
it.
now and
I
again.
know, it's the man.
Stick it to the
But,
man. That's where you gotta
But
go.
pretend that that all of my ads are being completely blown up, and go here. And so, sending so much love. You do get extra stuff and VIP access, and we give you extra shows that eventually get shown to the Skeptic and Ranting community because we're liberals. Anyway, sending so much love. We're Midnight Ranting, Evolution on Trial. That was the Patreon, Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman. This is our lovely panel. Good night. Mwah. Bye. right.